How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
सी गॉड ऑफ 40R के रिडेम्पशन आर्क की हो चुकी है शुरुआत. Medal Esports are preparing to take the Season 4 medal home. Feels like Destro's magnet has finally started pulling off. क्या ओमेगा की टीम का दिख सकता है मेगा कमबैक? Watch BGMS Season 4 live on Jio Hotstar, Star Sports and Nodwin Gaming's YouTube channel daily 5 p.m. onwards.
The unprecedented top 4 still remains as the rest of the pack try to dethrone them, ladies and gentlemen. Will that happen on week 3 today? We're going to find that out soon. You all are watching the OnePlus Android BGMS Master Season 2025. Shadow, one of the big days that we saw yesterday, the rise of certain new teams, but I really like the consistencies that are now being pulled back forward, right? Yes, there were certain games where we did see OG fumble a little bit, we did see God's Reign fumble a little bit as well. That same thing could be said for 8-bit.
Even for the players of iQOO also, we can say the same thing. They were playing with a 3-man army, and later on, we did see that the fight, initial power play fight, eventually didn't turn out in the favor of iQOO, despite getting the first knock, which Goblin got with at M249. So yes, this week has been full of changes where few middle pack teams are staging a comeback. Then top tier teams are the ones who are actually fumbling out.
I mean, if you really want to put a title onto the name of that previous day, I'd rather go for an absolute cinema, because that's what we saw in the first map of Erangel itself, right? Marcos Gaming again pulling themselves back up in a situation where you could not have expected them to win, right? Even after that, they were able to quickly pull themselves back up. And there were so many surprises that happened yesterday, right? I know that we're constantly talking about that, so let's have a look at the recap of yesterday as well, people. As things started off of week 3, day 1, there were teams who were absolutely ready for the last week to move up forward. As we started things off with Erangel, there were TWOB players who went in to bite a little bit more than what they could chew. Eventually, Marcos Gaming answering that back instantly after losing Gyro God and the first few minutes. But this was the exact same fight that you were mentioning, Shadow, iQOO Soul. And the fun fact is they were playing with 3 players and they decided to move up and take that fight.
And eventually, it looked like this can be the game for the players of RNTA. They can get the winner with a chicken dinner, but Marcos Gaming being cheeky once in terms of the rotation. They did end up getting that 10 position points. But in match 2 in the Miramar also, we saw Global Esports going up against the players of Team iQOO and Global Esports. They were the one to came out victorious in that particular one, but it was a complete K9 domination which we saw in the map of Miramar. Global Esports, they also tried their level best, but it was not a chicken dinner game for them.
It was an absolute throw of a game, or I'd have to say K9 just stealing it away with their perfect rotation of flank out there. But there was a team who was struggling a lot, and when it came to 4TR, they made sure that they struggled in that game. Genesis getting 1v4 obliterated out there, and we were talking about those obliterations. 8-bit as well jumping in, trying to do that third party, eventually getting some few points, but they were not able to convert it into a big game.
Yeah, eventually it didn't turn out to be their game, but in the last Sanhok also, we saw that a pain is alive from the side of 4TR was able to pull a 1v4 against the players of Genesis. But in the last match also, Team Orient, they were actually a surprise that came in the very last Erangel yesterday, because they dealt with the players of Mad Kings. Reckoning also tried to do something against the players of 4TR, but didn't really get the best outing in that situation. But this fight, third party which came in, eventually led to the demise of the players of Hero Extreme Godlike and for BS as well. But I think it was a complete banger performance which MyG lost Hermanos pulled off in the last Erangel.
I mean, finally, after such a long time, they were able to get their first chicken dinner, Shadow. But is it too late? That's the big question, because the top team has already closed 413 points, while if you're looking at Hero Extreme Godlike, 391, just 9 points away, and then comes God's Reign and Orangutan. I'm kind of surprised to see God's Reign back up here, right, considering that Destro has been constantly saying that he does not want to be in the top 4. He'd rather want to play from the semi-finals and then move up.
I think Destro is just playing his natural play style, because if you notice, God's Reign are not really going for those power play fights or for those bounty points.
Yeah.
They just go with their rotation, and eventually whoever comes in front of them, they try to pick up a fight if it is a good fight and it can go in their favor. I don't think Destro is doing anything different or eyeing for any top spot. But for now, 4TR, they have made a big jump in the overall leaderboard, sitting on the 14th spot.
Yeah.
MyG lost Hermanos. Finally, a good game coming in from their side, but consistency is something which they need to focus on. Same goes for the players of FS as well.
Shadow, yes, they need to bring their consistency in. Like, yesterday was a day where we saw 2 of these teams getting their first ever chicken dinner. FS being one of them, and then in the last game itself, MyG lost Hermanos. But I agree. When it comes down to getting that consistency, getting those early points, getting those bounty points, or rather the power play points itself, right? We are not really seeing a very lot of aggression from either FS or... Yeah, we used to see it in the first week from MyG lost Hermanos. Now that just seems to have faded away right now. So I think so that's a bit of a problem coming in for their side. Also considering Marcos has 6 chicken dinners, right? That team has got the highest chicken dinner side right now. But since we're talking about some teams with a consistency, let's have a look at Medal Esports.
Yeah, Medal has been having a really good run since the day they got the chicken dinner in the map of Sanhok. They have been looking pretty strong. If you look at the stats also, I think Aimbot has been doing a pretty decent job. 64 finishes, 39% finish contribution. The Terminator yesterday in the very first Erangel, 51 finishes in and 14 position points, 31% finish contribution. But Altu, the reason you see less number of finishes because he has recently joined the team.
And if you really look at it, right, comparison between match 1 to 44 versus from 44 to 60. 1 to 44, that's 44 matches, Shadow. And what, how many points they've got? 58 placement points, 106 finishes out right now. You look at the current 16 matches itself, you're already on 60 finishes, you've got 27 bonus points, and you've got 50 placement points. That's a big consistency in terms of that position. And I'm pretty sure that if you're really taking out the average out here, right, getting 60 finishes in 16 matches, that's a phenomenal record.
Just look at the bonus point differences. So much difference in the bonus points as well.
True. That's the one big thing, right? But we've been constantly talking about both of these teams, or rather Medal specifically. But there's a lot of things that we really need to talk about right now. But there's one thing that you guys would want to see, and that's going to be the interview with Venom. We're not going to take that. It's going to happen on stage. So let's move on there so that we can have a look at it.
किसी विद्वान आदमी ने बोला the problem is not right now, the problem is with the future. Why are you thinking about the future? If you're Medal Esports, I'll tell you why. मेरे साथ Venom, it's good to have you, brother. I've been checking socials. और वहाँ मैंने story देख ली है. Everybody has seen this story. It's a health update. Scout is coming back to Delhi. लेकिन क्या Scout lineup में वापस आ रहा है?
Scout भाई से मेरी बात आज सुबह ही हुई थी, तो मतलब उनकी अभी थोड़ी हेल्थ सही है अभी वो, लेकिन उनको क्वारंटीन है 3-4 डेज का. तो मेरी बात हुई, वो कह रहे थे मैं जल्दी से जैसे सही होता हूँ आ जाऊँगा. मैंने कहा हाँ आप आ जाओ, सीधा फाइनल्स में खेलना.
So you're confirming that Scout जब वापस आएंगे तो सीधा finals में खेलेंगे, provided you make it to the finals.
या फाइनल्स तक खेलेंगे.
तो फिर बिठाओगे किसको?
देखते हैं, जो भी रहेगा उस टाइम पे बैठ सकते हैं.
So let me help you out थोड़े numbers के साथ. आप टर्मी और एम गॉड, आप तीनों के कंबाइंड फिनिशेस जो हैं वो बहुत कमाल है. बट जो भी आपका चौथा प्लेयर होता है लाइनअप में, दे हैव द टेंडेंसी ऑफ टेकिंग द टीम डाउन. तो उस सिचुएशन में आप अपना मोमेंटम जो है वो कैसे बरकरार रखेंगे?
मेरे तो फिनिशेस बहुत कम है अभी, एंड मतलब मेरे को जब तक जैसे मैं आईजेलिंग करता हूँ तो मैं सारे जोन दिलाए हैं मैंने अभी तक, सारे जितने भी मैचेस हैं सब में जोन दिलाया है. लेकिन जब तक मैं मतलब फिनिशेस नहीं उठाता ना खुद से, तो मतलब मेरे अंदर ही ऐसा कि मैं आईजेलिंग करता हूँ कि मैं सारे जोन दिला दिए, तब फिनिशेस मेरे नहीं है तो मुझे लगता नहीं कि मैंने आईजेलिंग करी है. तो मतलब मेरा कंट्रीब्यूशन कम है अभी, तो मैं उस चीज़ पे ध्यान दे रहा हूँ. मेरे फ्रैक्स बढ़ेंगे तो और ज़्यादा अच्छा टीम को वो मिलेगा.
ये बहुत ही क्लोजली कंटेस्टेड टूर्नामेंट है BGMS सीजन 4 में. अब हम आखिरी हफ्ते पे पहुंच चुके हैं बिफोर वी गेट इनटू द फाइनल्स फॉर अ टीम व्हिच हैज बीन ब्लो हॉट ब्लो कोल्ड शुरुआत में, और अब सडनली पोडियम फिनिशेस भी आ रहे हैं. व्हाट्स द गोल दैट यू गॉट इन माइंड फॉर दिस वीक? 6 दिन का एक्शन जो बचा है.
अभी जोन टू जोन खेलेंगे एंड देखेंगे बाउंटी वगैरह ले सकते हैं कि नहीं, जिसकी ले सकते हैं, एंड खेलेंगे अपना बेस्ट देके. बाकी ऐसा कुछ है नहीं गोल की टॉप 4 करना ही है. अगर टॉप 4 नहीं हुए तो फिर क्वालिफाई करके आ जाएंगे.
लास्ट क्वेश्चन, स्काउट बेड रेस्ट पे है, वो सीरीज वगैरह के रिकमेंडेशंस मांग रहा है जो वो देख सकता है, दिए कुछ?
मैं सीरीज तो देखता नहीं हूँ, लेकिन मैंने उन्हें अपने YT का लिंक भेजा है, तो मैंने कहा सारी मेरी वीडियोस चेक कर लेना.
Well, let's find out from Scout if he's watching all those videos जो वेनम ने उसको suggest किए हैं. All games today are on the OnePlus 13. Match 1 is coming up on the other side.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class. For today's lesson.
I already taught her something.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Big games require big performances out here right now as we move into the last week itself. Some teams trying to remain in the top 4, some of them trying to remain in the mid-8 pack, while there are others who would want to make sure that they at least stay up in top 12 to move on to the semi-finals, because if you're anywhere near the bottom, yeah, you're going to have to play the games with the teams in BGCS, and you would not want to face that because their competition is also super solid. Let a schedule pop up in front of us as well. Shadow Group B playing all the 4 games right now. That means God's Reign, Orangutan, they've got some big opportunities.
Of course, God's Reign, NINZA also is one of those names which has been trying to catapult themselves in the overall ranking. So today can be the day where NINZA find themselves in the comfortable spot, at least somewhere close to top 4. But for the players of Orangutan, RNTX is also an important day because they have got all the 4 matches, and OG have been fizzling out in the last few days.
That's the big thing, right? Some teams fizzling out in the last few days has been a bit of a problem coming in out here. But there's one thing that has been absolutely exciting, and that is the fact that there's also a few extra streams going on in different languages out right now. You know, English and Hindi, they're the primary ones. Also got the Gujarati one, and the studio out there, it's absolutely green, just like the Duolingo. You want to make sure that you also check that out. Why? There's another beautiful feature, Shadow, and that is the multicam feature only available on Jio Hotstar.
Of course, you can definitely watch the POV of your favorite teams just like Hero Extreme God, like RNTX, God's Reign, and Metal Esports, and along with that, you can also have the map feed. All this is available only on the Jio Hotstar. But coming back to the game, which team are you actually anticipating that they are going to stage a comeback today? I mean, somewhere close to top 4.
That's a big question, right? I think so.
No, it's a small question, a small answer. You just have to give the... See, it wasn't that difficult.
It actually was, considering there's Marcos Gaming as well. There's NoNx, who have been singing the praises of for the past, 2 days at least, that this team, who was in the bottom 4 after the end of week 1, day 7, has made it in the top 12 by the end of week 2, day 7. We have no idea if they can eventually bounce back even further up, ladies and gentlemen, right now. As further up goes the plane into the sky off map of Erangel. The first game beginning with the flight path starting from Sanhok military base, going all the way towards Stolber. So the teams who would want to drop over towards George Pole, good luck trying to survive that.
An eastern flight path, like you mentioned, but we have got all the beautiful faces of the players, and they look completely ready. And like you mentioned, the flight path is all the way from the side of military base towards the side of Yasnaya Poliana, so we can definitely anticipate a circle somewhere towards the western side, maybe towards Zaki or towards Quarry, because recently we have been witnessing some crazy circles, and the new zone meta is making things so difficult for the teams. But let's see if anyone is actually eyeing for that extra finish points which you get in the power play, because Marcos Gaming, they are also somewhere close to military base island, but they are on the outskirts where God's Reign, they are sticking to the military base compounds. True Rippers, they love going in towards the side of No Reply. So far so good towards the southern island.
That's the big thing about Marcos Gaming, right? A team that has got 6 chicken dinners and still they're nowhere up near the top 8 itself. Kind of shows up that this team, it's actually, they're consistently taking those position points, but when it comes to those bonus points, right, they're kind of lacking in that. Those early power play finishes as well, or those impact player power play finishes where team capitalize the maximum and get those 40+ point bangers. We haven't really seen Marcos Gaming pull that up. That's one of the big reasons why they're still struggling to be inside the top 8, right? And if you're not in the top 8 in the next 2 days, I'm pretty sure you can eventually give up the dream of being in the top 4 at least by the end of the week 3.
My prediction about the circle is as close as my prediction was about you saving me previous night in the game of BGMI. I relied upon you. I predicted, hey, leave it, you guys stay far away, scared yet is close by, he'll come and rescue me, give me revive. But it's okay, the circle also betrays me. It's completely towards the eastern side, but thankfully it is not betraying the teams, because majority of the teams are going to find themselves in the safety of the circle. Likitha Esports, they can actually have the entire northern control, FS towards the side of Siberni, a good place to hold on to. But Milta is where trouble lies. We have got the players of RNTX, MyG, NoNx, and even the players of NINZA.
It's definitely going to be a place where we might see a lot of action, right? And really talking about it, True Rippers, they'd have to pick their own poison. If they would want to rotate from No Rep Noy Bridge, yeah, good luck surviving that. There's NoNx already sitting there, and they'd be ready to bridge camp you. And if not, at least REVENANT X-Park. And we have known them to pull these kinds of shenanigans. If you would want to go from the Ferry Pier Bridge, there's already Victor Sumus. And even previously, we have seen them do the same thing multiple times. Sometimes even God's Reign being targeted by them. And if God's Reign are not being targeted by them, then they will definitely try to target you. So you'd have to be pretty careful about that. Oh no, it's going to be middle. All 4 players in one vehicle. Yeah, not really the biggest fan out of here. Got to run away. Already got players of Reckoning Esports behind you. And this team is also finally pulling their socks up, right? Yeah, they haven't really got any major eliminations or major finish points, position points. But I'm pretty sure that they're at least trying to take a few fights out there. It's OG. Got to try and run away from that team. Because Aru and rest of the members, they are bloodthirsty right now. On the 4th spot in this leaderboard, that's not what suits the Apes.
Here's the thing. OG, Medal, these are the teams who love going in from the northern rotation. And that is exactly what they're trying to do. OG loves going in from the side of Yasni and Poliana. Even Medal, they are very much aware about every nook and cranny of Siverny and the surrounding areas. But seems like we are having a cat and mouse chase where the players of OG are trying to chase down the players of Medal Esports. But OG is the one who has got bounty on their heads. But still they are going for the chase because recently there was a dip in the performance.
To try and make sure that they get hit back. Not a lot of bullets in the magazine right now. Only 44 remaining. That's why Vizgod, he was not really taking those early few shots. Now they're going to do that. Nox coming in back and forth right now. Not yet. Justin is the man who actually answers back onto someone else on the other side. That's Marco's Gaming. But OG finally pushing all the way back up right now. And knock coming in from Atanki. Big play from their side as they want to try and take all of them down. Aru. It's a big confirmation too. iQOO has already fallen down on his knees. That's a big problem. An off from his god only to be answered back from the other side. And it's Atanki who now remains 1v1 against Medal as he gives revive to Aimbot.
Aimbot back in the game. Being revived, being rescued. Even the plus OG are trying to go for the reset. But Venom is taking things up close personal with a shotgun in the hand. But from the backlines, he also gets taken down by Aru himself. Aimbot on a very low HP, but he has got S12K.
What?
Which is not going to help him out as Aru is going to deal with the last 2 players of Medal Esports. Aru gets 3 finishes out of 4 and Medal Esports. An early exit for them, but a good news for the players of OG because now they have got 4 finishes. So that means 8 extra points at the very start of the game.
Funny thing that iQOO actually waved them a bye-bye. He was the first one to fall.
Yeah, the Apes. They'll eventually do such
Anyone
maneuvers.
apart from AK would have been fine.
It's okay. Sometimes it's fine.
I remember the interview you took of him, but okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all part of the LAN.
Absolutely. That's the fun part about it.
We know for sure all these guys are friends outside the game. So it's almost okay, but it's not okay for the players of MyG because recently we have been noticing a pattern. They tend to lose those early drop clash fights and Shadow gets taken down by Pukar of TWOB. This is not looking good. Spy from the back lines trying to do something to the players of TWOB, but he's all by himself. And this is not the most promising position for Spy to be in.
That's the reason why he deployed that one smoke to move back and maybe make some more space. Can't really pick up the vehicle out there though. Mac has been taken down. Cyrax, he was one of the big playmakers yesterday for that big chicken dinner of MyG Los Hermanos. Another nade coming in though. He's going to send out the molly to try and get the confirmation too. Is it on point? That's the big question, and it actually is. Pukar falls down as they all move up far forward. Kalan down onto his knees as he's being confirmed as well. But it's MyG Los Hermanos losing players out here and they will be destroyed. Avi stands up for TWOB and eliminate MyG Los Hermanos.
I really expected a consistency from the side of MyG, but seems like those 4v4 early power play fights is where MyG is still lacking. But TWOB, even they lost on to 2 of their own players. So I don't really think that it's a win situation for TWOB considering the fact they are right at the bottom of leaderboard on the 24th spot. So I don't know, just 6 extra finish points are really going to help the players of TWOB because converting a chicken dinner with just 2 players is going to be an uphill battle for the players of TWOB, especially the way NINZA is keeping a close eye onto them. The smoke is giving away the position and there are a few other teams also rotating from the nearby fray. So TWOB, they are in deep hot waters.
Similar thing happened to them yesterday as well, though. They only got a couple of points out of that, and then they lost 2 players against the members of Marco's Gaming at that point. Right now, one good thing is that they eventually get 8 points out of that. Now all they would need to do is just try and play for that survival. But the question is, if you're TWOB, can you really try and play only for survival? For now, it's going to be RNTX again. And a bit of problem. TWOB still one man strong, still holding it down. Trace is going to try and stay alive as Fierce will help him out. It's already a couple of finishes coming in. Sensei wants to try and win the fight, though eventually gets taken down. Low HP as Fierce tries to join in the fray as well. Maybe a shot. One more connects, this time from Fury. He's able to get down rest of the members. 2 finishes from him. It got very risky for a 4v3 fight, that when they got the first knock.
Well, definitely RNTX once again leading the chart. Winning that power play fight is going to help the case of RNTX. Already they are on the top of the chart. Already crossed the mark of 400. That gives an extra confidence to go for the aggressive stance, which the players of RNTX are also trying to do. But reckoning.
Was that in the power play though? I think so. It
not
was
really.
At
Not
the very
really.
edge, yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at it, it's only been few seconds.
Now
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe not.
I think so. It's a very coin flip moment if they actually got someone in the power play or not, because they definitely got the knocks in there. But I'm not quite sure of the finishes if that was the case. We can have a look at that right now. It was the MyG lost Hermanos fight, which, again, MyG likes to play by surrounding their opponents, but that really doesn't work if you've got a numbers disadvantage, and that was the main problem which eventually happened. It was a back and forth trade, and then they kept on losing their members, but Avi standing up big time, that was the big thing. Look at that. They got the knocks in that, but they could not get those finishes. This is where the entire team falls.
Yeah, Vishu pretty much pinned down in that particular corner of the compound in RNTX. But despite being the solo man, he was able to dish out a lot of damage towards the side of RNTX.
Yeah.
But iQOO Soul, this is a team that really needs to step up, because recently we have been seeing a major dip in the performance.
Yep.
Goblin, being the impact player, was not able to bring so much impact on the table in terms of the numbers as Legit was able to do in the previous week. Let's really hope whatever is broken in the team of iQOO Soul gets fixed as soon as possible, because now currently we have the players of NoNx also lurking nearby. Not just NoNx, because everyone, if you notice, is eyeing for that center control where we have the players of iQOO Soul as well.
Big thing and the big gain back from iQOO Soul is the fact that they are playing with the IGL now. Knuckle is back into the fray.
Yeah, the Batman himself, Batman.
They're going to be happy about it. Only it was dark, I think, so he would have played onto his full potential, but okay. Not really the Gotham City we are sitting in right now. God's Reign have been entirely out of that circle itself, right? The only other team who tries to go in for this kind of late rotation play has been Godlike. Yesterday they were trying to save their bounty as well multiple times. We saw them going in for different drop locations. Since they were not playing with True Rippers for a couple of games, they were dropping in towards Nova Rapnoy as well. This time around, God's Reign, after getting 2 members of Marco's Gaming, finally now moving in. But the place where they're going to barge in from, it's got a lot of teams out there, Shadow, and Destro, or rather any IGL, would struggle to bring their team back into the circle if this is how it looks.
I don't think Godstrain is going to face any issue, because if you look at the northern side, I'm sure Destro has an idea that so many teams love dropping in towards the side of Milta, Farm and Lipovka, that northern fray could be pretty much empty, and that is exactly what they're trying to do. Because if you notice the split, and that is why I love Destro. He's one of those OG IGLs who know, no matter what the circle is, he can always make that journey inside the safety of the circle. And this time also, I'm sure they are going to stick to the edge of the circle. It all boils down to the information, how much info you have onto your opponents.
Aryan, rotating from the close by. I was about to mention that they will be facing the members of Team Aryan, as they like to play on towards the northwestern fray, almost towards the edges in every other map.
Not till the next circle shift.
I mean,
Because these two compounds, if you notice, even if the players of Team Aryan or Godstrain do manage to get a knock onto either of each other.
They're not going to go in for a
Yeah,
slam,
because it's an open ground. It's going to be very risky.
Exactly. So, next circle shift, though, we might possibly see those collisions happening. We'll just have to wait and see how that pans out, right? Because over towards south, oh my goodness, it's a rainbow. And a cluster you would not want to be the part of. Not the linear Kia that we hope for, but it's not really going away. Revenant X Spark, True Rippers, NoNx. You mentioned about iQOO Soul as well. They were somewhere around that fray as well since the circle shift is over towards north. That's a bit of a problem for them at least right now. Some shots being fired from Jelly. We haven't really seen any major early contests from True Rippers, right? They always like to go for the third party.
It's a deja vu moment. Because I'm sure you remember that RNTX. This was the same area where they would deny that winner chicken dinner, and we saw Sensei getting a bit angry, I'll say. And True Rippers were the one to come on the top. But for now, the next circle shift is going to be really crucial, because after that, only RNTX or True Rippers will try to engage in a fight, or maybe not really engage, depending on the circle shift. You are predicting a northern shift? If that happens, I think OG, Godstrain, Team Aryan, they are going to be pretty happy. And this time, Mr. Scared Yet, you are correct. I don't know how.
I wish I get $5 billion in my bank account right now. But coming back into the game right now, yes, as you mentioned, OG, they've got all the ground that they eventually need. A lot of teams who would now be rotating from down south will try to breach in from either the side of prison, or they would want to go in from a western rotation as well. Sensei is going to try and gatekeep the members of True Rippers, but we've always known their love for the hovercraft as they barge in over towards the rest of the members though. But shotgun from Fears, it's just a bit too much to handle. And again, True Rippers, they're being destroyed. This strategy of a hovercraft, it's like a double-edged sword for them, and it's always been hitting them back.
Definitely Likitha Esports this time. Although RNTX is also doing a third party in the situation, and RNTX was able to deal with one of the player of Likitha Esports, but Smoker also gets better out of True Rippers. Now the strife factor, since the blue is also close again, is not really looking promising for either of these teams, because we have got the players of Reckoning, NoNx in the close proximity, and they have to traverse inside the circle where the players of Meta and NINZA are waiting. Even the players of iQOO Soul can also do a third or fourth part in this situation. Likitha, they do have a bit of the height advantage, but I think they are trying to buy some time. Enough time so that they can help their teammates out in the blue and make the rotation inside the circle.
It's going to be a hard damage from the blue. A minute and 50 remaining for you to try and traverse back in right now as FS. They control the eastern fray. Godstrain control the western fray. Meta NINZA control the southern fray. Good luck trying to survive through any of that. And you were talking about the third party from iQOO Soul, right? That's not happening, but Reckoning definitely want to try and maybe catch a few people out there. It's also like the Esports was still going to stand strong. They still want to go for the fight. Sensei has been taken down by Flock, so that's again a new team hopping into the game itself as Fury. They want to try and confirm that one pick for him. It's not really happening for Likitha Esports. Only one finish till now. They've got the chicken dinners, they've got the positions, but they do not have the finishes. Finally, confirming the second one as well, but now they've got to make their move faster than anyone else would want to imagine. Going into that up close and personal though, it's Marcos Gaming. One more member remaining as Victorous Sumus. They're being fired on from multiple directions. It's Marcos up in front of 2v1 as Naughty falls. No shenanigans being pulled out this time. And on the other side, it's Likitha Esports being gate-kept by Reckoning.
For sure, Reckoning, they do have a certain height advantage. And Starboy, he needs to find a hard cover for himself. But that moving vehicle, that flank angle, which Jovin is trying to pull off, is grabbing all the attention of Starboy. And this is the moment where Reckoning could have striked in. But they give enough time for Starboy. But the blue is something which is not going to give enough time to Starboy to patch himself. Likitha, they have to make their move. But for now, the next circle shift is also going to be really important. Because OG, God's Reign, Team Aryan, RNTX, they still have a very decent spot. And the centric shift of the circle is going to make sure that RNTX, Team Aryan, God's Reign, they still have a very good spot. And seems like God's Reign is also picking up a fight with the players of VS. Few good grenades, and now VS is down to only 2 last members.
Big problem coming in for Victor Sumus out here right now, just like the members of Likitha Esports. They seem to be in a pretty more difficult pinch to try and move out from Smoker, getting shot from behind. He's got to pick a fight up in front of him. Still 2 members out here, shoots down the first one, barely surviving on an EHP as Max finally gets him down. This is the Reckoning Esports that we used to see in the past. Finally seeing the glimmers back again from them, as they still survive with 3 members. Maybe they can try and make something happen. It's a very, very awkward circle and playstyle for the teams right now. You take a look at Seoul, all the way down southeast towards Prison, FS. They will eventually lock horns either with NoNx or Revenant X Park, or maybe even OG, who've got the northern control. But you can't really move out up in open, right? Because it's such an open area to work with.
NoNx trying to deploy those smokes, because they have got the players of FS, RNTX and Orangutan, 3 teams in the close proximity. Smokes are the best possible soft cover which the players of NoNx can have at this point. But look at Roman, that flank angle is really going to work in the case of FS, but hefty damage being dealt by Roman himself. But Gods, the hero of yesterday, is going to eliminate the entirety of NoNx. 3 finishes being accumulated, but Godex is also knocked out. So FS, they have to make sure to give revive on time, because we have the plus of OG also coming in from the northern side. And this is not looking promising for FS, because all the players are on a very low HP, and Vizgod trying to knock down Levi, gets a better out of him, and FS left with only 2 last players. But look at the retaliation coming in. Atanki has been knocked out.
A bit too far ahead out here, making a small mistake though, since Fizz is there. He's going to give those covers and revival too. They can't really lose members, OG, if you're really talking about it, right? Because they've already lost AK. That means if they lose 1 more member, one would be occupied to give the revive, and the next one would want to try and defend though, as he quickly catches one. If you're driving a vehicle in front of Aru, just don't. Especially not today, considering the game that he's playing right now. Oh, Wiz got out in the open, but the rest of the players would want to catch in the last few, as they will collect the pieces. Aru answering back as well with the shotgun of his. Now wants to move back and survive with his team, which he will be able to do.
RNTX also left with only 2 members. They've got 6 finishes in the backpack. That's definitely going to help their case. But only 2 last players remaining. And seems like the players of Orangutan are aware of the position of Fierce. They're already trying to pep a few bullets in the direction of that vehicle. But let's have a look at what really happened between the players of Likitha Esports and RNTX, where Inferno was able to take down Sensei and Fury, and they were trying to traverse inside the circle. Such precise shots coming in. But now Fierce is also in a difficult situation. Aru from the back lines. He has a clear line of sight onto Fierce. This is not looking promising at all.
But it's Fierce, you'd not really want to take a fight with him right like that. Not a 50-50, because that's mostly Fierce winning it, but Tanki makes it a 60-40 as the nade lands perfectly. He's going to send out a couple of more to get that confirmation, but Henry steals that finish away. Yeah, OG there, they're not going to like that. My goodness, this is such a bold maneuver coming in though. Vehicles that are almost going to be destroyed, they're still taking them. It's not really the best one happening out there, but the circle taking another central shift shadow. No one having any major control of the circle apart from Team Aryan.
Yeah, they've got the entire northern control. OG, who were trying to traverse from the eastern side, left with only 2 players, as Atanki has been put to the ground. RNTX, it's only Trace God. Towards the southern side, we have got the players of Meta NINZA, but God's Reign Delta pretty much knocked out in the open. Aryan gets a confirmation point as well, but Cyrix is also trying to do something, as he has got a vague idea about the position of Justin. The major challenge which Godson is going to face is The journey inside the circle is not going to be an easy one because Team Aryan was aware about the position of God's Reign since a very long time, and now they're taking the advantage of it.
This is what we both were discussing as well. But I mentioned that Aryan would want to gatekeep God's Reign, and you mentioned that will happen after a couple of stages.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening. Reckoning as well, they're constantly facing some shots. Being caught out in the open as OG, they've decided to take the fight on to them. 9 finishes already by this team. Oh, he's got being chipped down a lot. Now he's got to use another first aid kit. Aru is pretty low in that HP as well. But they're at least inside the circle, so that one thing is good for them. Oh, never mind. The 3-pointers coming in from Reckoning. Aru's been obliterated. And Team Aryan steal away the finish. Poachers.
This God still hiding inside the smoke, but look at Sarex directly going for the vehicle slam. This is not the situation, Sarex, you want to be in, because it's not only QOG but also the players of Reckoning, but Devotee gets a better out of the last player of Orangutan, and now they have been eliminated on the 5th spot. 5 finish points towards the side of Team Aryan, and they have got the majority of the real estate control as well. God's Reign left with only Neo as Destro is still bleeding out. Even the players of Reckoning. This grenade can actually mark an end for the players of Reckoning. Just look at that. A bit too short. Reckoning being the lucky ones for now.
Another raid as well, just bouncing off of that vehicle. What is Dionysus doing? Bit of a problem coming in for their side right now. God's Reign, they're kind of locking horns with the members of NINZA as well. They'll have to win that fight if they want to try and move in for this nade. It's doing a lot of damage and a few stray shots as well. Instantly catching the members of Reckoning and putting them out of their misery. Team Aryan, this looks like the best possible way for them to close out this game right now. As Destro has been spotted out in the open, shots being fired, no hit markers, so Aryan will have to move back.
Well, for sure, he has to. It looks like this is the game for Team Aryan to lose, as they have got the numbers advantage and the circle control, and they are actually pushing on to the players of NoNx, where Beard Baba and Poco are so close to each other. This is going to be the battle of grenades as Devotee is trying to cook that Molotov. But it's all about the connection. Even Destro. No one is actually focusing on to Destro, but the barrage of grenade coming in from the side of Henry makes it clear that they're aware about his position, and Destro is the only man left.
Yeah. Not really the best possible decision by Justin to move that vehicle there. Could have also gotten Destro caught in the crossfire. This raid is beautiful. It is impeccable. Team Aryan having over 10 finishes already in a down 2v1, or rather a 4v1. You talk about it as the vehicle is there. Close things out for them. Team Aryan finally, after such a long time, get themselves back on the first place.
It was bound to happen, because if you noticed yesterday also Team Aryan, they had pretty much good amount of finish points which they converted in the entire day. It was a good day yesterday also for the players of Team Aryan, but Team God's Reign seems like they are not really happy with the performance, because if you notice the way the circle was taking the shift, it looked like even Team Destro can do so much in this particular one and maybe go for the chicken dinner, but it was eventually the players of Team Aryan who became a ugly thorn in the path of God's Reign.
They wanted to take that fight early. They had to take that one fight earlier to try and create some more space. They just waited for a little bit long, and that eventually put them in that precarious position where they had to take care of teams down on south, like Soul, like NINZA, and then they also had to take care of the teams who are up north of them. So they basically got themselves in that pitch, and that wasn't really the best possible play, but it's absolutely fine considering the situations where it was Team Aryan to win that entire game. Nice nades coming in from them, also picking the right fights. That's the best part about it. But there's another good part that's going to happen, but after this short break, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere, we will be right back.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Join Google Play Points, the loyalty program that offers you exciting benefits. Now earn points on every purchase. Play more. Level up to gold and platinum. And unlock exclusive rewards.
Welcome back, everyone. After the short little break, joining me for the next one is going to be Crore himself. And Crore, I know you were watching the first match from the sidelines.
Yeah.
First question. Let's skip the winning team. They have got all the praises and everything. Maiji lost Hermanos. What happened? Once again in the power play, the drop clash didn't go in favor of them.
Yeah, for some reason it feels like after that week one, Maiji Los Hermanos has just forgot how to go for those proper 4-4 fights, right? It's not the Maiji Los Hermanos that we saw in the week one. In week one, it was a completely different team, dominating left, right, center, did not care who was there in the front, and Maiji Los Hermanos will always come out on top with positive traits. But right now, it's pretty much not the same team anymore. Maiji Los Hermanos is struggling a bit too much. But let's talk a little bit about Aryan, since they were the one to get that chicken dinner. And here's my concern. Yes, they got a chicken dinner, well and good, nicely done from them. But what is the average of them actually getting those successful games? It's quite less. So Team Aryan cannot rely on playing that safe and passive game style anymore. They need to be a little bit more aggressive if they want to find themselves in the top 12.
Now my frustration about the players of Maiji is out of the box, so we can focus on the players of Team Aryan. And like you said, I do agree with that, but here's the thing. Team Aryan, at least they are showing signs of improvement. Yes, chicken dinner, they can't get every single time, but at least in the games where they are not going for the chicken dinner, at least they are going for the power play fights, finish points. They are coming in their favor. And earlier, it was only the map of Sanhok where they used to shine. But recently, in the past few days, they are actually getting points in the map of Erangel and Miramar as well.
So here's the thing, right? Team Aryan in the week 2, especially in the starting days, we did not see any sort of improvement. But then later on, as the week 2 came to an end, we clearly saw a big difference between Cyrex and the remaining teammates. Cyrex was the one who was popping off left, right, center. He was getting a lot of those elimination points. I still remember that Erangel game where Cyrex had around 9 elimination points. He was the one to pretty much carry his team on the back. But now the fact that Team Aryan, the entirety of Team Aryan, they're performing on the same page, it's a good thing. But as I mentioned, you need to be more aggressive. You need to go for those power play points, not just play defensive and passive.
Same goes for the players of Team VS. We have been saying that like a broken record that VS, they need to have an aggressive stance, because yesterday also, in the last Erangel looked like it is going to be the game for the players of VS. This time, yes, against the players of Marcos Gaming, they did manage to get few good extra points. But NoNx, this is not the way to hold on to an open area. 3 players joined at the hip. If you're doing that, this is exactly what's going to happen to you.
I'm pretty sure for NoNx, they did not really have a lot of options either, since all the grounds were pretty much covered by all the other teams, and unfortunately for them, they had to pretty much move out in the open, use the vehicles as the cover. In the final few moments, we also did see Victoria Sumus Mafia get taken down. It's quite unfortunate that passive game style is not working out for the players of Victoria Sumus now. Even inside of the week 2, we did not see an improvement. Week 3 as well start. It's not too great for them.
Yeah, but Team Aryan, the way they had the entire northern control, even the players of Godstain were trying to maintain that same control, but eventually they were short on the numbers because they had to traverse inside the circle, whereas the circle kept falling onto the players of Team Aryan. 21 total points in the match ranking is what Team Aryan is having. OG, too many finish points. 16 total points. It was a decent game for the players of Orangutan as well. But Reckoning, I'm happy to see Reckoning finally popping off. 10 finish points, total 14 points. But consistency is where they are lacking.
That's some insane stuff from Reckoning Esports. Scott's Rain as well getting 13, Revenant X Park getting 9 points, TWOB getting 6, NINZA getting 6, Los Hermanos with just 4. Of course, a bit of a concern from the side of Los Hermanos. They definitely need to amp up that aggression, need to amp up the number as well. And I've been mentioning this since yesterday. If you're a team currently sitting on the bottom of the board, you need to claim those power play points. You need to go for the bounty points. That's the only possible way you can find yourself in the first half of the board. That's the only way you can breach inside of the top 12. We've got the overall standings popping up on the screen. The top 4 is clear. Revenant X Park, OG, God's Reign, Hero Extreme, Godlike, Genesis Esports still pinned on that 5th spot. But Metal Esports once again making a few moves in a good way.
But this time Metal, they were the first one to be eliminated from the lobby. But since they have done majority of the work in the previous few days, one bad game is not going to really harm the players of Metal, if at all they are consistent in the remaining games of the day. But we also have got Team Aryan also taking a jump in the leaderboard. Now they are sitting on the 13th spot with 292 points. NoNx on the 12th, Marcos Gaming on 11th. But PS, K9, 4TR, they are facing a downfall.
Victor Sumus is dropping down daily, and this is not a good thing. The performance is degrading because we're not seeing them go for the aggressive moves anymore. We're not seeing them go for a proper 4v4 fight off the rip and take the advantage of the power play or take the advantage of the bounty system. And as I mentioned, all the teams on the last page, the only possible way they can reach in the top 12 is if they go for those bonus points. That's the only way they can stand a chance, or else you can pretty much pack your bags and go to the playoffs. And we all know just 4 games are not enough for you to prove your worth.
It's better you do all the hard work right now and try to catapult yourself in the top 4. But hey, only 4 teams can be the top 4. It's not going to be easy for everyone to be in the top 4 itself. Someone has to go. Someone has to go in the playoffs. They have to take the heat of the playoffs.
Look, at this point, I would still say aiming for the top 12 is the way to go, since you can directly secure a slot towards the semifinals. Going towards the playoffs, it's probably the worst possible thing that can happen. But for now, it's time for us to toss to a short break. We'll continue the conversation on the other side.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag. We have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Radar, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What's the cheat code, bro?
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class, for today's lesson.
I already taught her something.
Orion did in the previous one is a wicked upgrade, because now the Raider iQOO brings segment first GTT digital cluster with 85 plus connected features, best in class talk, and now 9 killer colors. Welcome back everyone after a short little break, and Necro on desk with me. Necro, what's your favorite color by the way?
Oh, I love this color on the bike. The gray and the black mixture looks absolutely fine, looks clean, and I'm a big fan of it. So I wish I get my hands on that, but unfortunately I can't. Maybe I'll need to pull pretty much a heist at this point to get my hands on that bike. But jokes apart, we've got the map of Miramar booting up soon on the screen. Group A and B will be the one to duke it out in that map. Once again, Group A and B will be a part of it. That means Team Orion will have a chance to pull a back-to-back chicken dinner. If they're not able to pull a back-to-back chicken dinner, at least make sure they're getting a constant point flow.
And their Miramar games have been pretty strong as well. But you know what? All the teams are playing on the OnePlus devices, and that's the reason that they're able to bring such domination, because it has got a 144 FPS for BGMI of 5 hours straight gaming.
Wow.
Segment largest cooling system, beast mode battery, and ultra fast charging with all new bypass charge and play. So that means you can actually charge your phone and play the game of BGMI simultaneously.
That's absolutely crazy. What else do you want if you're someone who loves to play BGMI? You've got great power backup, you've of course got best FPS out there, and of course ultra smooth gameplay experience will also be there for you guys. So it's probably the best possible scenario for a gamer out there. I recommend you guys to check it out. But back towards the conversation that we're having, we've also got teams like OG a part of this entire game. And even for OG, since they're currently sitting inside of the top 4, we all know OG's chilling. They do not really want anything to do around the lobby. And of course, OG is also one of those teams that does not really want any sort of early game battles anyways.
But you know what? Atanki is missing his smile today. I'm sure you remember that smile which he pulled off against when he eliminated the players of 8-bit. But I know someone who always loves making a smile, and that is Sensei. And we have got a small content piece where we did ask Sensei a few questions and really want to know the answers. But you know what? We'll take a rain check on that.
I mean, yeah, I just hope that Sensei was able to answer those questions in a serious way, because I highly doubt this man is serious. 90% of the time, the man is quite sarcastic, but I hope he's serious in the interview. But jokes apart, we've got the game lined up soon on the screen, and we all know since it's the map Miramar, there's a big chance the big names will dominate once again. But I would love to see a few names like Reckoning Esports, Victoria Sumus, maybe even NoNx make a few waves for themselves.
NoNx is actually a pretty consistent team, because no matter what, they are actually winning those 4v4 fights. It's sometimes that they fizzle out, otherwise NoNx has shown steady improvement in their gameplay. But the big blue bird is going to hit the skies in the map of Miramar, which has few less compounds as compared to Erangel, and third parties are something you need to be very careful of in the map of Sanhok, but in the map of Miramar as well. All the 16 teams, all the players are pretty much ready. They're having the last final chat. Few fun segments, but now all the seriousness will begin, because the flight path is all the way from the side of La Cobreria towards Los Leones.
I mean, this plain flat path, of course, it's quite perfect for the teams if they do want to move in anywhere on towards the map of Miramar. But since we know the map's still so massive, there will be a bit of those tough stretches as well for the teams to try and travel to. We might just see some of those pit stop clashes, and I would love to see that happen, since I am a big fan of the early game aggression as well. And of course, the power play points are something that just adds on the cherry on top of the cake. We've got FS Esports taking an exit towards El Pozo, even God's Reign moving towards La Cobreria, but Soul! They're locking horns with Reckoning Esports. Now this is going to be fun. Reckoning Esports versus Soul, and Reckoning Esports is one of those teams that's been struggling a bit too much, and they're probably here to claim the bounty and maybe get a few points to themselves.
But in the last few days, it is actually the players of Team iQOO Soul who have been struggling to get those points, and Reckoning, they are pretty much decent as compared to the previous games. So let's see how this drum clash is going to go, because Reckoning is looking in the form recently, and the first knock is actually onto the players of iQOO Soul. Joker has been knocked out. Knuckle, the Batman himself, is trying to keep the enemy at bay.
Oh, that's a massive blow for the players of Soul. The second man falls down as well. Knuckle, the backbone, not there in the game anymore for Soul. Who is going to make sure the rescue operation comes through? It's going to be tough. Reckoning Esports with a massive man advantage in the fight now. There's also Legit in the back line. Shots are taken. Legit gets softened up. Legit's got an 8 primed. He wants to toss it on the opposite side. The man towards the garage. But that util, it will find connection towards Dionysus. The man gets softened up extremely low, but Reckoning Esports at this point in time, after having such a massive man advantage in the fight, Goblin softened up as well. Utilities really finding those prime connections. And yes, I hate to break it to you guys, it's going to be a rehost.
Yeah, I'm sure someone is going to be pretty happy, and that is the players of Team iQOO.
Especially Knuckle, since he was the one to get picked off first.
But Reckoning is pissed off, because it could have been a good game for them.
I mean, that could have been 4 bounty points right there. I don't see a world where Soul would have been able to escape that spot. Of course, those 10 additional points for Reckoning Esports, that could have been a day saver. Unfortunately for Reckoning Esports, we might just not see a comeback from them in this game. But let's hope, the moment the actual Miramar boots up on the screen, where there will be no rehosts, we can just hope that Reckoning Esports will actually do good for themselves.
Let's hope so, because recently Reckoning has been looking really promising in those 4v4 fights. Whereas for the players of iQOO, I think since Friday, I think iQOO has not really been looking that confident in terms of the rotation, in terms of the fights also. Even if they do manage to get the first knock onto the opponent, they start fizzling out in the middle of the fight. And that is something which iQOO needs to fix as soon as possible. But always also needs to fix few things in the gameplay. But you know what? I've got a piece of content for you, Necro, and for the audience also watching.
Okay.
Guess who the player is going to be?
I don't know. Well, let's find out once we toss it towards that.
I'll let you guess. I'll give you few more chances to guess the player's name. But like I was talking about Sensei, he's one of those IGL who know how to rule the battleground fields, also know how to make us laugh. But for now, is he really trying to show his biceps? Sensei has... I mean, does he even have the biceps?
Well, he probably doesn't.
पर्दे के पीछे TR jelly.
Shadow.
Shot 1, take 1.
बढ़िया स्टार्ट करें।
तो जेली परफॉर्मेंस डिप क्यों आ रही है? नंबर 5 इन ऑफिशियल्स, नंबर 7 इन थर्ड पार्टी, बीजीएमएस में 10 के नीचे जाने का प्लान है क्या?
टॉप 5 तो ठीक है यार, देखो आप लास्ट मैच तक हम लोग थर्ड पे ही चल रहे थे लास्ट टूर्नामेंट में भी, ठीक है। लास्ट मैच चोक हो गया थोड़ा सा तो 7th तक गिर गए, बट मेरे हिसाब से अच्छा खेली टीम हमारा। अगर थोड़ा सा गलती ना करते तो शायद थर्ड आ जाते या पोडियम फिनिश लेके आ जाते। तो ठीक है, होता है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। बीजीएमएस पे करेंगे ना अभी। अच्छा,
आपने बताया आपका लाइनअप अभी नया बना है, उसके बारे में बताइए।
रिसेंट जो अपना ये लैंड हुआ था अभी, उससे पहले ही मतलब लाइनअप जो बना था, मतलब 2 प्लेयर्स मैंने चेंज किए थे। निंजा और सैम अलग हो गए थे एंड हम लोग हर्ष और हाइड्रो को लेके आए थे टीम के अंदर। तो विजन यही था कि जीतने वाले लाइनअप बनानी है एंड हाइड्रो और हर्ष पे मेरे को भरोसा भी है। देखते हैं, अभी तक रिजल्ट काफी अच्छे रहे हैं, मतलब जितना मैंने एक्सपेक्ट किया था शायद उससे बेटर ही है। कभी कभी गलतियां हो जाती है लेकिन मेरे हिसाब से अच्छा करेगी लाइनअप।
चलिए, एक स्टार स्टडेड लाइनअप जो आपने पहले लीड किए और अभी जो लाइनअप है जहां नए फेसेस हैं, क्या फर्क है इन्हें लीड करने में?
लाइक मेरे को तो ऐसा लगता है कि अगर मैं ये सोच के लीड कर रहा हूँ किसी टीम को कि इस टीम में स्टार्स है या फिर इस टीम में अंडरडॉग प्लेयर्स है, तो फिर तो मेरे को आईजीएल करना छोड़ देना चाहिए, क्योंकि फिर मैं सेम पेज पे कभी भी आईजीएल कर नहीं पाऊंगा। अगर मैं किसी भी प्लेयर को अपने से बड़ा मान के चल रहा हूँ या फिर ऐसा मान के चल रहा हूँ ये स्टार है, मैं इसको कुछ बोल नहीं सकता, तो फिर तो लाइनअप चल नहीं पाएगी कभी भी। तो मैं किसी भी लाइनअप में रहता हूँ तो सेम ही ट्रीट करता हूँ हर एक प्लेयर को। वो फर्क नहीं पड़ता मेरे को कितना भी बड़ा स्टार हो या फिर कोई भी अंडरडॉग हो। अगर कोई गलती करेगा तो मैं उसको तो वहाँ पे उसी तरह से सुनाऊंगा जैसे एक अंडरडॉग को सुनाता हूँ या फिर एक स्टार प्लेयर को सुनाता हूँ। तो इक्वल है, कुछ ऐसा डिफरेंस नहीं है।
आपके करियर में सबसे बेस्ट लाइनअप कौन सा रहा है जो आपके फेस पे मुस्कुराहट ले आती है?
देखो, मुस्कुराहट तो आई ही है और मतलब वो लाइनअप सबको पता भी, और मैं मतलब जहाँ भी जाता हूँ सबके सामने उस लाइनअप की तारीफ करता हूँ, उस ऑर्ग की तारीफ करता हूँ। वो OR Esports है, ऑरेंज रॉक। तो मतलब वहाँ पे बेस्ट एक्सपीरियंस था मेरा। DMPS तो हम लोग सेकंड आए थे और जो भी टूर्नामेंट खेलते थे हमेशा फर्स्ट से क्वालिफाई करते थे और हमेशा मतलब डोमिनेट करते थे उस टाइम पे। आरू, आतंकी, मैं और आदित्य लाइनअप थी हमारी। तो OR का टाइम मतलब मैं भुला नहीं सकता, लाइफ का बेस्ट पार्ट रहा है अभी तक मेरे। क्या पता अभी शायद और कुछ बड़ा प्राइम आना हो, लेकिन वो वाला मेरा बेस्ट था, बहुत मजा आता था उस टाइम।
आरू एंड आतंकी ने अभी ट्रॉफी उठा ली, पर आपकी ट्रॉफी तो हमें नहीं दिख रही।
तो देखो, आरू और आतंकी ना मेरे भाई जैसे। जब वो फर्स्ट डे पे टॉप भी के थे, मैं उनके पास दिया था, उनको बोला था प्लीज इस बार ट्रॉफी उठा देना, क्योंकि पहली बात तो ओजी की ट्रॉफी सब लोग देखना चाहते थे और ओजी से ज्यादा मैं देखना चाहता था आरू और आतंकी को बहुत अच्छा करते हुए, क्योंकि वो पहली शायद मेरी ऐसी टीम थी जब हम लोग अलग हुए थे तो हमारे बीच में कुछ भी लड़ाई या कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं हुआ था। बहुत ज़्यादा म्यूचुअल बेसिस पे हम लोग अलग हुए थे और वो लोग भी समझे थे चीज़ों को जिस भी बेसिस पे हम लोग अलग हुए, और आज वो लोग इतना अच्छा कर रहे हैं, ट्रॉफी उठा ली। मतलब देखो, मैं इतने टाइम से कह रहा हूँ मैं नहीं उठा पाया, लेकिन वो लोग उठा लिए तो उनको बहुत अच्छा लगता है और होपफुली बीजीएमएस में भी वो लोग अच्छा करें। बाकी तो चलते रहता है, क्या पता अपनी ट्रॉफी पे आ जाए जल्दी।
ये आपका फोर्थ मस्केटियर आदित्य, कहाँ है वो आजकल?
यार आदित्य का मेरे को इतना आइडिया नहीं है, बट हाँ जब मैं ट्रूरिपर्स की लाइनअप बना रहा था तो मैंने उसको अप्रोच किया था आदित्य को, लेकिन कुछ उसके डिफरेंट प्लान्स थे, तो उसने बोला कि वो शायद उस जगह पे कंटिन्यू करना चाहता है। तो मैंने बोला ठीक है कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, लेकिन फ्यूचर में अगर कुछ भी होगा तो दरवाजे हमेशा खुले भाई के लिए, कभी भी आ जाए।
हमारे न्यू इनिशिएटिव चैलेंजर सीरीज के बारे में आपका क्या कहना है?
देखो मेरे हिसाब से तो अच्छा है, क्योंकि 24 टीम्स अपना BGMS में लेके और चैलेंजर सीरीज में 24 टीम्स रहेगी, तो मेरे हिसाब से अच्छा है। अंडरडॉग्स को भी लैन पे आके चांस मिल रहा है, नहीं तो हमेशा ये होता था अंडरडॉग्स को सीधा ऑनलाइन स्टेज पे खिलाते थे, उसके बाद सीधा लैन पे आके फिर वो उनके पास भी एक बहाना बोल लो या कुछ भी बोल लो, लेकिन वो रहता था कि भाई हम लोग तो लैन पे खेले नहीं, फर्स्ट टाइम आ रहे हैं। लेकिन इस बार तो पूरा चैलेंजर सीरीज उनका लैन पे होने वाला है, तो उसके बाद उनके पास बहाना नहीं होगा जब मास्टर सीरीज में वो लोग आएंगे कि हम पे एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है कुछ भी। बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है और नॉट भी नहीं कर सकते थे।
लास्ट क्वेश्चन, चैलेंजर सीरीज की 2 टीम्स जो आप मास्टर सीरीज में देखना चाहते हैं।
चैलेंजर सीरीज से मास्टर सीरीज में तो मेरे हिसाब से सिंसिनाटी किड्स और विजिस्टा स्पोर्ट्स, क्योंकि एक में हेक्टर है एक में जूसी है, बहुत ज्यादा नोन प्लेयर है, काफी टाइम से खेलते आ रहे हैं, तो मैं इन दोनों को देखना चाहता हूँ मास्टर सीरीज में।
ओके, और वो 2 टीम्स मास्टर सीरीज में जिन्हें ये दोनों टीम्स रिप्लेस कर सकती है?
एक RNTX और RNTX के साथ लिखिता स्पोर्ट्स, विजिस्टा लिखिता एक साथ है ना, तो इनको स्वैप कर देते हैं।
रीजन भी बता दीजिए।
लेकिन RNTX में मतलब जिन प्लेयर्स ने उतना बड़ा नाम बनाया था वो नहीं खेल रहे ना अभी, तो अभी शायद लाइनअप चेंज जितना मेरे को आइडिया है, तो इसीलिए बस, और कोई रीजन नहीं।
गुड लक जेली फॉर BGMS सीजन 4।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
Well, nostalgia hits hard when you remember the initial days of your journey, and that is exactly what happened with Jelly as he was remembering the days back when he was a part of OR Esports. But you know what? He did mention that RNTX could be the one to not make it to the grand finals.
Interesting.
Look at the leaderboard.
Looking at the performance, I don't think that's going to be the case. Revenant X Park sitting in the top 4 and absolutely ruling there. We've seen Revenant X Park at a time also sit on the first spot, and they also had a massive cushion to play with. But as we all know, this current match has been rehosted. Soon the game will be booted up on the screen, and hopefully the technical issues will be sorted out as soon as possible. But this also gives us a bit of that time to talk about True Rippers. And speaking of True Rippers as well, they have been quite inconsistent themselves. Yeah, few games True Rippers do pop off in quite the great manner. Few games True Rippers they lack big time. But hopefully this time around we'll see them patch things up a little bit more. But for now, we've got a video lined up of Sensei, so let's have a look at that.
काफी इवेंट्स खेले हैं पर परफॉर्मेंस अच्छी नहीं रही है, आप इसको कैसे रिबिल्ड करेंगे?
जो आपका कहना है कि परफॉर्मेंस सही नहीं है, मैं उस पर एग्री करूंगा, क्योंकि आप लोगों ने मुझे ऑलरेडी बहुत एक अच्छे लेवल पे खेलते हुए देखा है। मेरा यही कहना है कि अगर मैं सिर्फ अपनी टीम की बात करूं, अगर आप मेरी आंखों से देखो तो मुझे ये सिर्फ ग्रोथ दिखाई दे रही है, क्योंकि हमने बहुत टाइम साथ में स्पेंड करा है। हमारी सिनर्जी पहले से काफ़ी अच्छी है, एंड हम बहुत ज़्यादा प्रिपेयर्ड है मेंटली, स्पेशली जो BGMS सीजन 4 है, क्योंकि आई थिंक ऐसा टूर्नामेंट साल में एक बार देखने को मिलता है जहाँ पे इतना बड़ा स्टेज रहता है हमारे पास अपने आपको प्रूव करने का।
I mean, of course, Sensei is saying that he definitely does want to prove himself since he knows it's such a massive opportunity. And if he does get his hands on the trophy, we've all heard he's also going to get a massive raise from Scout.
You have been following him on the social media.
Of course.
That guy was actually asking for the raise, and we know what Scout replied. We heard that reply.
Look, Sensei's a content machine. If you do not follow him, well, that's a big problem. This man is quite funny, and we all know it. But you know what? As I mentioned, let's continue the conversation about True Rippers. Jelly and the boys, they have been quite inconsistent. Yes, a few games True Rippers does extremely good, but the week 3 start hasn't been that great so far for them.
I agree to that, but I think in the overall ranking, I think they have been doing pretty decent. So few bad games are not going to really harm them as long as they are getting those average points in every single game, because they are certainly doing so. Yesterday also in the last Erangel, they didn't get the chicken dinner, but the finished points were pretty decent for them.
So here's the question: do you expect average from a team like True Rippers, or do you expect extraordinary performances? Do you expect outstanding performance from a team that's so experienced, from the iQOO that's been there in the pro circuit for such a long time? Of course you expect outstanding performances, right? You expect a team like True Rippers to be there in the top 4, but that's not the case. They're not even close to that top 4. But for now, the plane's going to be in the skies once again, starting all the way from La Copraria towards down south. This plane fly path, it's not that good. Tilted a little bit to the left side of the map. If the teams do want to move in towards LSR, Tierra Bronca, now that's going to be a tough stretch.
But I really want to see where the players of iQOO are going to go this time. Are they really going to go up against the players of Reckoning once again, or will they take a rain check and maybe go somewhere else? Actually, they are dropping towards the side of La Covriria, and maybe once again we can see iQOO Soul going up against the players of Reckoning Esports.
Both of them extremely stubborn, and Soul actually dropping in that same spot once again. Even Reckoning Esports dropping on towards that same spot once again. FS Esports moving towards El Pozo, TWOB as well. They are going to move towards San Martin. That's where they like to go, and TWOB has constantly been facing a lot of foes in San Martin. And in the end, we all know it's Revenant X Park who ends up third-partying the entirety of San Martin, claim those crappy points in the end. So this time I hope that's not going to be the case with a team like TWOB. They're ready for this third party. But Seoul, they're currently locking horns with the players of Reckoning Esports. In that previous game, it was Reckoning Esports to find that advantage. They found those 2 quick knocks.
Yeah.
But this time, is it going to be the same case, or will it be Seoul this time, who will be much more heavier on the players of Reckoning Esports?
I don't know about the heavier, but they are certainly cautious this time because all the 3 players are in the same compound, where else Knuckle has got a crossbow, and that's the only thing which he's having. Even the players of Reckoning, they have found nothing. Nada in their hands, no weaponry, nothing at all. And the grenade in the hands of Knuckle can take at least 1 player down from the side of Reckoning, but it finds nothing, no connection. But Knuckle, with an OZ, gets not just 1 but 2 players of Reckoning. Tables have turned this time, Necro.
Both the players with just a shank running in head first. What is Reckoning Esports thinking? Both the players, they should not have rushed in like that. They did not have proper weaponry to defend themselves, and of course, this is what's going to happen. Knuckle baited them perfectly. He used a nade first, making the opponents think that that is the only piece of utility he's got. But then he pulls out a gun and surprises them. Reckoning Esports, the drop clash is already spoiled. The previous time, they were the one with the advantage, but now this time, Reckoning Esports, they've lost it completely. And in my opinion, Dionysus should get his hands on the vehicle and just run away. That's probably the best possible thing the man can do.
But he's the only last man standing. Yes, in terms of the position points, that would be the mature decision, but will he be allowed to do so? Is there any vehicle around him? That's the main problem. Because falling back in the map of Miramar is never an easy task.
That's really smart from Goblin. He had his hands on the explosive bow, and he was constantly using those arrows towards the vehicle, wanting to blow it up so that there's no escape option available for a man like Dionysus. But since Seoul, they've realized themselves, even they need a vehicle. At this point, Dionysus, there's a man out in the open, shots are taken! But nothing as of concern yet. There is a vehicle inside the garage, and Dionysus can definitely get his hands onto it. But as I mentioned, the vehicle softened up a while ago with that explosive bow. The arrows were lobbed on towards that vehicle itself, but now close and personal, and the battle will be won by Knuckle.
Well, certainly, iQOO Soul, they needed this fight converted in their favor. 8 points at the very start, but TWOB going up against the plus of Marcos Gaming, where Naughty has been knocked out. Easy confirmation, easy points secured, where Pukar was knocked out, but it will be an easy revival for the plus of TWOB. In fact, TWOB is also one of those teams which is right at the bottom of the leaderboard. They need to take advantage of the power play. Just a single finish is not going to help the case of TWOB at all.
Yeah, and look at BatOP. He gets absolutely slammed to the floor. 3 more players standing for the players of TWOB, and at this point in time, for BatOP to get slammed like that, it's definitely concerning. Superman all the way in the back lines. He's got the MP45 to work with. His position not noticed yet, but now definitely it is. That spray's extremely stable, and Superman, one single mistake, and the man can instantly face a lot of trouble. And also his demise. He can be knocked out within a second. Superman's backing away towards the compound wall, but TWOB already 2 steps ahead as they find the knock, and the confirmation's probably going to be easier.
That is what actually the players of TWOB are trying to do. Avi trying to help out his teammate with that vehicle in a pretty tricky situation, but Marcos Gaming, this is one of those teams which used to be so strong in the map of Miramar because they started getting the chicken dinner from Miramar itself. But an early exit is not really going to help the case of Marcos Gaming. They've already lost on to 2 players. Wait, is the player still knocked out? Or he's just low HP?
No, he's knocked out. Marcos Gaming, they just can't do anything. Players getting dismantled. There is that one man, but he does not want to be part of this scuffle. So he's already backed away and ran away from this spot. The elimination points gifted to the players of TWOB. And wait, what? Okay, TWOB just back away. BatOP is anyways going to be confirmed, so it's all good in the hood for TWOB. And that's a great start for them. 3 elimination points, that's going to be 6 points right there. A decent start for TWOB, a team at the bottom.
6 points are not really going to help TWOB. They need
Of
to go all guns blazing. They need to take down not just one but 2-3 teams in the lobby and get a chicken dinner. Only then we can expect something better out of TWOB. They can actually try going up against the bounty teams.
Exactly, and that's why I like this approach from Reckoning Esports, right? Yes, they got pretty much eliminated from that game, but it's completely fine. What if Reckoning Esports ends up getting that bounty once? Now that's going to be a game changer right there. And Reckoning Esports is currently sitting on the 20th spot, which is quite a decent spot if you think about it. Breaching inside of the top 12, it's not as difficult as it is for TWOB.
On 12th spot, we have got NoNx with 307 points. Reckoning, they've got 230 points. If they actually eliminate a bounty team in the power play, that will definitely catapult themselves in the overall ranking. But this moment where Knuckle, it's not the first time that we are seeing Knuckle pull off an iQOO 100 iQOO move. I'm sure you remember what he did with a stun grenade also previously. Every time Knuckle surprises
It was legit.
me.
It was legit who pulled off that move with the flashbang.
And Knuckle was against
Meta NINZA.
Yeah, Knuckle was against Mighty Los Hermanos, that 1e4. So the entire team of iQOO Soul is capable of doing so much. But you know what? We have got something for the audience as well. You guys can spin and unlock the Nixon Sinister set starting at 10 UC.
Meta NINZA on the screen. Another one of those teams that's been struggling, but even for Meta NINZA, things are much better. On the 18th spot, if they want to breach in the top 12, it will be easier compared to the players at TWOB. But especially for NoNx, the performance recently has been pretty good on the 12th spot. But NoNx needs to find a way to breach inside of the top 8 now. That's the only way the top 12 can be sustained. Soon there will be a lot of fluctuations in the overall standings. We know this is the last week. And as of now, Marcos Gaming, Stone BGMI, the man's pinned. Utilities tossed out towards the staircase. Does find a little bit of that chip damage, but it's still not enough. And Stone BGMI now, he's in such an awkward spot. Takes an exit from that window, does want to catch a few players off guard himself. But maybe that's not the way you're supposed to play this fight. I think he's positioned himself in one of the worst possible places. And Stone BGMI can definitely be caught off guard. And what are you doing? Check your back! Stone! Completely unaware of the fact that he can be pounced on from the back as well. Stone was lost.
He was the last man standing. I don't blame him. But look at the point difference. It was only 2-point difference between Marcos Gaming and NoNx Esports. And since NoNx, they have got few finished points at the very start of the game. So the point difference is almost 0 now. They are also sitting at 309. So there is a very high chance that now NoNx can catapult themselves in the overall ranking. But the next circle shift, just look at that. A completely northern shift. And it is actually going to favor the players of Team iQOO Soul, TWOB, and Team Aryan as well, who is trying to traverse from the eastern side. But look at the teams, a cluster towards the southern side. That is where we have the players of God's Reign, MyG, True Rippers, even RNTX and Orangutan as well.
Meta NINZA moving towards Montenuevo. And also in the Smack Center, by the way, you've got NoNx towards the right side. Down south, OG and Likitha Esports a part of it as well. But Likitha Esports playing from the off-centric. It's still quite a decent spot to be in. And as long as Likitha Esports is safe, we know in the final few moments we will see them. That's what happens with them every single time. They're coming out of nowhere, scoop up a chicken dinner. But since Likitha Esports has so many chicken dinners and looking at their position in the overall standings, that does not really go that well.
I do agree. Currently, they are sitting at the 21st spot, but Smoker, in such a close proximity to the players of Orangutan, and I'm sure AKOP is very much aware that someone is there in the compounds.
Of course.
He was just trying to scout the area, and there is a high possibility that OG can pick a fight against Likitha Esports. It all boils down to that opening frag. If that opening frag is given away by Likitha Esports, I'm sure OG will be slamming into the compounds.
OG has one characteristic, and that is the moment you find yourself in that comfort zone, don't go for the flashy plays anymore. In week 1, OG was going all guns blazing. But in week 2, we saw OG's aggression dialed down. Why? Because they've already found the comfort zone. All they wanted to do was be in that top 4, and OG's there in that top 4. And they're looking pretty comfy as well. As long as they're getting that constant point flow of 7 to 8 points per game, OG's completely fine with that. And that's why OG, right now, we're not really seeing them force any sort of fights. They're not really brute forcing anything. Instead, just letting the flow of the game take over, and OG's playing the adaptive gameplay.
And it's perfectly working fine. They're sitting on the second spot.
Yep.
As long as nothing is required to be mended, it's perfectly fine for the players of OG. They've already crossed the mark of 400 and all the 4 players are alive. This is the time they can actually try and experiment something rather than going for the flashy plays and prepare themselves for the grand finals.
True.
But mind you, this is one of those teams which I don't know what's broken. I mean, they need to fix too many things.
Maybe the spirit. Maybe the spirit that's broken.
Not really, because if you remember yesterday in last Erangel, the synergy, the communication, everything was there when they were holding on to the Yasnaya buildings. They brought down Likitha, they brought down the players of Genesis, so many teams, even the players of iQOO Soul, they dealt with them and eventually got the chicken dinner. This is not the same LHS which we witnessed yesterday in the last Erangel.
True. And that's what I'm saying, right? For Los Hermanos, there's definitely a few problems that are going on. And hopefully they do patch them up as soon as possible. And the dip has been after week 1.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of these teams are trying to adapt in towards the week 1, and Los Hermanos was just plain aggressive. That's it. Plain and simple, go aggressive. That's what Los Hermanos' game style was. But since the week 2 rolled out, a lot of these teams understood how exactly the lobby is going to be functioning, and Los Hermanos started getting tackled. We also did see a bit of that playstyle shift from the side of Los Hermanos, and that's one of the main reasons why Los Hermanos is not able to play that well. They did not need to fix something that was not broken.
For now, trying to breach into the circle from the southern end, but we have got Metal Esports and NoNx trying to breach into their compounds. 2 players already knocked out from the side of Metal Esports. There's only 2 last men remaining, Venom and Altu.
And that one man, he's definitely putting a lot of spanner in the works. That Metal Esports. One man's all the way in the far back, but just that one man is up close and personal. He's got a lot of that pressure upon himself. NoNx, the 2 players inside of the building, Altu right in the outskirts. He's tossing out these utilities in the hopes of finding something, but Altu is also taking a lot of damage upon himself. Metal Esports, the last man, he gets taken down, and just like that, Metal Esports, they've been eliminated from this game. Decapitated. And 3 elimination points were converted from Kana himself. That's an iconic performance.
Even Termi also tried to do so much in that situation. He was able to take down 2 players from the side of NoNx. So even NoNx did win that fight. They are also wounded. But for now, look at the Esports and MyG. They are also in the close proximity. But we also have got the players of Godstreet who are also somewhere towards down south. So there is a high possibility that if these 2 teams lock horns with each other, which Shadow is trying to do, Godstreet can eventually do a third party.
Yeah, but let's see how MyG Los Hermanos is able to deal with this situation. Shadow moves out in the open a bit too much. He also caught a lot of that hurt upon himself. But now he needs to patch himself up, and look at the Esports. They've already pushed up close and personal. Man around the corner. He will do enough damage so that the nade will clip it out. And that's perfectly played from Likitha Esports. MyG Los Hermanos already crippled. They do not have the advantage anymore in the fight. A 3-man squad now needs to go up against the entirety of Likitha Esports, but even Likitha, they've lost out in Inferno. The revival's going to be there. But what just happened? Within the blink of an eye, when Spy goes down, MyG Los Hermanos, the confidence shaking, and the entirety of the team, it's also shaking in the overall standings.
MyG things happen with MyG. Every single time they start a fight, they initiate the fight, they get the first knock, and after that, in the middle of the fight, MyG tends to lose onto their players.
I'm telling you, the main call in the week 2 was to bring up those experiments. MyG Los Hermanos wanted to switch up the game style, but while doing so, they also ended up messing with their own mentality.
Yeah.
And because of that, now they've lost the confidence in the firefights in the first place. How is MyG Los Hermanos supposed to win the firefights if they do not have enough confidence anymore and they're committing mistakes like that? There was one man peeking out in the open to the entirety of Likitha Esports. What do you expect?
But where the confidence of VS has gone? I mean,
they never had it. Honestly, they never had that.
RNTX, they definitely have that confidence. Godstreet, they have got the confidence. And Godstreet and OG, they are trying to have that southern control for themselves. With True Rippers, they are sticking to the western edge of the circle. Team Aryan, they have got the entire northern control. This can actually be a good game for the players of Team Aryan and iQOO Soul, because the linear split which iQOO Soul is having all the way towards the center of the circle is actually going to help their case. But for now, everyone just holding on to their compounds. Few teams trying to make it inside the circle. I'm sure the next circle shift is where we are going to witness the next few fights.
especially for teams like Victorious Sumus who like to play with the passive playstyle. Let's be honest, we have seen their performance degrade because they're not able to find a lot of success in the games as well. That playstyle, it's going to stop you from getting those elimination points. That means you rely heavily on chicken dinners because you need those placement points. And since we know the point structure, it's so brutal. Without a chicken dinner, you're not going to have a lot of placement points either. So Victorious Sumus, they're getting constantly punished by the system. And you cannot keep on challenging that because you're not doing too hot in the overall standings either. Maybe just go aggressive. I've been saying this like a broken record. Just go aggressive, please.
There is only a 9-point difference between the players of Team Aryan and VS. And Team Aryan is on the 13th spot. And they are the aggressive one, but they are also inconsistent. Consistency is something which Team Aryan needs to focus on. But we have the players of Team OG, and as I was speaking of Team Aryan, Cyrex has been eliminated by the play zone.
Yeah, indeed. Especially with how the zone and the positions are now forming out. Team Aryan on the top left with just a 3-man squad. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Team Aryan. With only 3 players, need to find a good position inside of the circle. At the same time, defend that spot down. You've also got True Rippers next to you. God's Reign as well, right next to True Rippers. And I'm pretty sure the moment a fight happens, there will be a lot of those third parties instantly happening. But God's Reign, they spot a few players of True Rippers move out in the open. First knock was found. Destro, he falls back, patches himself up instantly. But True Rippers, they're in quite the exposed spot. It's not a good position to be in. Utilities from Destro, they're definitely going to start to hurt.
Destro with a barrage of grenades finds a perfect connection onto Hush. Trying to get the confirmation point. Even Keo Lamau has taken a lot of damage with those grenades. A splash damage is going to be enough to deal with Keo Lamau as well. And God's Reign, they're slowly dismantling the entirety of True Rippers.
True Rippers, they're getting absolutely devoured. Luckily enough, the man, he was able to patch himself up. So Keo is still standing. But Hirsch, I highly doubt he's going to be revivable. Utilities from God's Reign, they're starting to hurt. Team Aryan as well from the back now applying that pressure. And True Rippers, they soon will be eliminated. Keo, he's barely standing on any sort of HP. And in the end, a well-tossed nade will seal the deal.
The circle also takes a bit of the southern shift and is favoring the players of Team Orangutan. Even Likitha towards the southern western side, eastern side, can have the control of the edge. But RNTX, even they have been eliminated on the 11th spot. Consistency has been a problem for RNTX in the past few days. They are not getting those extra bonus points and extra finish points which they used to get few days before. But God's Reign, slowly and steadily, they are trying to climb up the ladder. But if they go a bit north, they can actually face the players of Team Aryan and Destro. With that Scar is trying to prep a few bullets towards the side of Devotee. But for now, Team Aryan, they are behind those ridges. Safe for now, but the main question is for how long?
I mean, especially for Meta NINZA, even their position, it's looking quite safe. Team Aryan, yes, a few fadeaway shots, it's not going to do anything for them. Or either against him. For God's Reign, I'm not sure what the game plan's now going to be. The ground squad exposed. So let's see how they decide to play this one out. There are a few haystacks that they can try and hide behind. But having a look at the replay between the fight of Revenant X Park and Victorious Sumus, trades were happening back and forth, but later on Revenant X Park, they were losing the grip on the fight as Fury was the only man standing, and even Fury got engulfed by OS in the end.
God's Reign, yesterday also they were showcasing good rotations, but they missed out on the chicken dinner. Seems like this time they're actually eyeing for those 10 position points. Eventually the finish points will come in because Neo, Justin, Delta, Destro, these guys are known for the aggression, especially towards the last few circles. In the initial few stages, they tend to be the passive forces in the lobby, but towards the end is where they shine the most. But for now, they're trying to chip damage the players of Team Aryan, specifically Aryan, but the blue is going to close them in. And this is the time when they have to prioritize the rotation. But look at the position where FS is. Team Aryan has directly walked into the compounds of FS. And the vehicle is about to be blown up. This is not looking good for the players of Team Aryan at all, as Devotee has been knocked out by Roman.
Oh no, they're taking a lot of shots upon themselves, too exposed. And Team Aryan, this is what happens when you want to play it passive and safe. It's not going to work out every single game. And this is exactly what I was saying. What are the odds of you getting a successful game every single time? They're next to none. And that's why Team Aryan has been struggling in the overall standings. It's because they're playing just like Victorious Sumus are. Avoiding the fight, playing it from the smack center, playing that defensive and passive gameplay, and it's not been working out. There's not a lot of placement points to be given in one game, but there's a lot of elimination points that can be taken in one game.
For sure, so many elimination points, especially with 2 bounty teams still alive with all the 4 players. I'm sure there is a chance of getting those bounty points as well. But for now, we have got the players of TWOB and iQOO Soul in the close proximity. Legit. With just one finish, Knuckles stepping up majorly in that early fight against the players of Reckoning Esports. But let's see where the next circle shift is going to be. Because if it goes south, I think OG is going to benefit heavily. But seems like we are going to see a centric shift. iQOO Soul still in a pretty promising spot. Even the players of FS, Team Aryan, even TWOB, they can come in from the northern side and take the compound which the players of FS are holding.
I mean, Soul's got a solid high ground to play with, honestly. And this high ground's going to help them gain a lot of intel and also maybe scrape up a lot of elimination points at the same time. Team Aryan right underneath them. With just a 2-man squad, I highly doubt now securing a chicken dinner is possible. Soon there's going to be a lot of teams collapsing on top of them. But Soul Goblin, man's on top, and what a knock that was! Threats the needle, finds a precise knock in towards Wishu. TWOB in a big wall of trouble, and Goblin still the man standing on top. Firing a few more shots, applying that constant pressure on top of the players of TWOB, and now the nade parade as well. Oh, it's just salt and pepper being sprinkled, and TWOB, they just can't take it anymore. The salt on top of the wounds with the utilities. 3 players down. This is massive from Soul. No one's going to stop them from conquering this fight anymore. Bakar, the only man standing for TWOB, and soon here comes the push from Knuckle. Soul's here to claim the elimination point, and now they've got the confirmation that 3 players are knocked out, and it's down to just 1 man, Bakar. TWOB, Bakar, I highly doubt he can do anything. There's the entirety of Soul in the front, and Bakar, the only man left standing.
And they deal with him as well. Team iQOO Soul, they did manage to eliminate the players of Team TWOB. A team completely dismantled in the power play, and now another team dismantled. So that means 12 points accumulated by the players of Team iQOO Soul. But for now, we have got the players of Team Orangutan as they're trying to pip a few bullets towards the side of God's Rain. Seems like Neo has already been knocked out, and AQOP is trying to get the confirmation point or maybe take down the other player of God's Rain. But the major challenge for God's Rain is going to be the journey inside the circle, because the way the players of OG, especially AQOP, is keeping a close eye onto them, is going to be a really tough task for them.
Yeah, God's Rain. I mean, just look at the way they're grouped up, and how is God's Rain now supposed to make it out alive themselves? Unfortunately, in the final few moments, even Justin got knocked out, especially when God's Rain needed to make that rotate. That's when they found that casualty. Oh, it blows for God's Rain. There's no possible way they're going to find themselves around the safety block now. There's a lot of smokes tossed out from God's Rain, but I highly doubt they will be able to survive this. It's the wrath of the entire lobby against that 1 man of God's Rain. And it's Delta who survives. The remaining 3 players just evaporated into thin air.
OG 4 finishes accumulated, and they have the entire southern control. A decent spot inside the circle can actually be a good game, and especially Atanki. I'm sure he's aware about the position of Delta, all thanks to that vehicle. iQOO Soul still having the higher grounds, but always, and the players of VS are also in the close proximity to the players of iQOO Soul.
Yeah, Delta, the man's getting chipped away now. A lot of bullets peppered towards Delta, and eventually the man has to crumple. There's too many shots taken against him. Magazines unloaded. And Delta turns into a death crate. Victorious Sumus. The passive gameplay so far has been working out, but now they need to breach inside of the zone, and to do so, they will need to go for a fight against Soul. And that's where the real problem lies. Soul somehow lost out on one of their comrades a while ago. Knuckles not there in the game anymore. The backbone of the team does not lie in the playing four anymore. Likitha Esports! XOXO had no clue that there was Dragon OP right next to him, and Dragon OP found a free piece of knock. And now Likitha Esports, there's this 1 man smoker constantly smoking his foes. He's able to find those 2 crucial knocks, but Likitha Esports, the fact that they do not really have enough men to go for this fight anymore, That's where things actually do favor the foes, and Starboy falls down as well. NINZA, this one man, he's putting in a lot of work, but there's also a third party right around the fray.
But if you look at the mini-map, like you said, the third party is also coming in the name of NoNx Esports. Likitha Esports completely wiped up, but Dragon is actually burning in the flames, and a grenade from the side of Kana is going to mark an end for the last player of Meta NINZA. But this is going to be the battle of grenades, where we have iQOO Soul on the uphill and also the players of Victoria Sumus. But we also have got the players of FS in the close proximity. The chances of third party are very slim because iQOO Soul and VS, they do have a height advantage. But what if the circle goes away from them?
Good question. Victoria Sumus will be messed up big time. And if the circle does favor a team down south, which is OG, things will be better for them. But the utilities, they're starting to hurt to the players of FS Esports. FS backing away from that spot. Roman's getting chipped up extremely low, and a well-placed nade's gonna find a quick two-piece. Godix and Roman down, but Levi, he wins that duel as he shuts down Aru, but still, the duel is lost, because from top it's AKOP raining down death and destruction, and even Victoria Sumus, they somehow have been eliminated from this game by Soul.
3 teams remaining, 12 finish is what the players of iQOO Soul are having. And Goblin, you need to be a bit cautious, man, because you have got the players of Team Orangutan downhill. We saw what really happened with Omega in the map of Sanhok when he took that fall. But never mind. Back to Miramar. We have got Legit trying to spot down the players. But OG, they do have a solid chance to convert this game in their favor, because Kalyug of NoNx is all by himself. It's actually 2 players from their side.
Yeah.
A completely outnumbered fight. The odds of OG converting this game are pretty high.
They indeed are. OG's got all the 4 players on the block as well, so they've got the man advantage in the first place. But OG messes up big, because legit, he finds a cheeky angle. OG down a man, now the fight's taken down to a 3v2. NoNx with a massive man advantage. Or man disadvantage, that's what I meant to say. And since they've only got 2 men standing, NoNx needs to play this passive. Wait for a proper fight to break out between Soul and OG. And then they can go ahead and third party this fight.
They for sure can. Kalyug and Kana, they are definitely capable of doing a third party. 2 men remaining. But look at the position where Legit is. He's trying to create some off angle onto the players of OG.
Yeah, even Goblin, look at the man. He's playing with a lot of risk. Oh no, the angle that he's holding. It's a massive slope. One single slip, and Goblin will be dealt with. And he cannot afford that right now. Soul is the only team with a massive man advantage, and luckily enough for them, the zone is constantly forming on top of them as well. This high ground is helping Soul to play with a lot of intel, and also punish the foes constantly. And for OG, they just can't do anything. They need to accept the fact that Soul's the supreme one currently. And that's why OG's playing it passive.
They're just waiting for the blues to start closing in, because they know that is when the players of Team iQOO Soul will start moving in. Look at Joker, just 2 first aids, not too many to deal with, or go for a heal battle, if at all that is possible. But Atanki with a grenade, those utilities are going to be of prime importance.
Oh
Joker
no!
With a Molotov,
He's done.
Atanki is literally burning in the flames, and he gets taken down.
OG, they're starting to crumble down. And it's not a good look. WizGod now the only man standing in NoNx. They somehow spring back to life. It will be a 2-on-3 fight between the players of Soul and NoNx. Soul with the man advantage. But still it can be done. Things can be converted. Look at that man from NoNx. He pushes all the way down. Kalyug, he's found himself a bit of that safety cushioning, but the moment I say so, Goblin from top, he's raining down death and destruction, and NoNx never thought Goblin will be able to find that line of sight. It's perfect gameplay from the side of Soul. Every single thing is now starting to fall into place. And now, as OG, with not a lot of chances left for them to go for this chicken dinner, they will need to crumble in front of Soul. Legit pushing up, and he claims the final elimination point as well, and that will be Soul with a massive chicken dinner towards the map of Miramar.
We have been asking what's happening wrong to the players of Team iQOO Soul, and seems like whatever was wrong has been fixed, and it has been fixed in style, because now iQOO Soul, they were raining death and destruction in the previous one. They have got more than 16 or 17 finishes, OG, they were also doing pretty decent, but that one single Molotov on Atanki was the opening knock which the players of iQOO were waiting for. And the moment Atanki got knocked down, I think that was the go key for the players of iQOO to go all guns blazing against OG, and that is exactly what they did.
Things were so well coordinated between the players of Seoul, right? Goblin on top, the remaining two players at the bottom. The moment they found that knock towards Atanki, they started to push up against the remaining man of OG, and NoNx ended up messing things up because one of the players decided to separate. It was Kalyug. Kalyug got picked off in quite a great fashion since Goblin had the high ground to play with. It was perfectly pieced from the side of Seoul. Everything was falling into the place. It was perfectly played from the side of Seoul.
It was definitely perfectly played from the side of Seoul, because at the very start they had to drop Clash against Reg into the power play. Later on they dealt with the plus of TWOB as well. It was a complete aggressive game from the side of Team iQOO, but let's see what it changes in the overall leaderboard, but the overall ranking will come after a short little break.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
You forgot to charge your phone. Why won't you wake
हम बिगिनिंग हमेशा नहीं था स्टार यूसी लेने से पहले सोचता था 100 बार डर था बड़ा स्कैम्स का डाउट थे हजार तो प्ले ओपी आया तो लगाई नया पर तो मैंने लिया यूसी सेव गेम किया रेस प्ले मेरे साथ यहाँ ड्रॉप से कम हार्ड प्ले तेरे साथ ओपी तू भी कर ले स्टार्ट
massive game from the side of Seoul, but we also did see OG in the final few moments. And even NoNx, man, what a consistent run NoNx has been having so far. No matter what sort of game you pull up, especially inside of the week 3, NoNx will always be there in the final few moments.
I've been always talking about this team. A lot of people have been sleeping on them right now, but this team has been in the bottom 5. It was all the way back in week 1. And look at them now, constantly performing, now moving over towards top 8 as well. I mean, if this continues, maybe.
I mean, especially the day where NoNx was able to pull off the back-to-back chicken dinner, that's where things really shifted for them. And that's when we pretty much saw the wind in the sail for them as well.
True.
And they have finally breached in that top 12, which is a great thing. But one single game slip by, NoNx can instantly miss out on that top 12. So they need to be a little bit concerned and also careful at the same time. They need to get those elimination points racked up in the power play. Need to start taking advantage of the bonus cards as well.
Yeah, I 100% agree, right? Because all the top 4 teams, they're the ones who've got that proper control of those bonus cards, those bounty points. Be it, if you're even talking about the fact that it's also the power play points as well, right? You really need those bonus points to try and remain in top 4. If that doesn't happen, then you can be Marcos gaming with 6 chicken dinners, but still not being in the top 8.
That's the thing, right? Even Likitha Esports should be a prime example of that, since Likitha Esports as well has a decent amount of chicken dinner, but still all the way at the bottom of the board, right? It's not something you expect from a banner who's got so many chicken dinners. You at least want them to be on the second page, but that's not the case with them. Before now, Seoul legit, with 7 finishes, is also going to be the MVP of this entire game.
Yeah, I mean, big performance coming in for the man. I'll have to say, you know, whenever it comes down to Seoul performing pretty good in a game, it always has been legit. This man has always been on top of the charts as well, and I'm pretty much sure that he has taken a lot of pressure off of the shoulders of Goblin and the rest of the boys.
Of course, Goblin was on top in that previous game. He was constantly firing on all cylinders, but Legit was the one to push up close and personal and get those elimination points confirmed. For OG, things could have been theirs, but the moment I think he got knocked out, that's where things pretty much slipped away from OG's head. But at the end of the day, Seoul just had the high ground to play with. No one was able to stop them.
I agree, but it was a bit weird from Seoul as well coming in, right? Because you could see AKOP was literally just standing there. He was having no idea about what's happening above him. And I think so that's a bit of a crucial sign out here, because if this is the kind of mistake that we're going to see from the OG boys, then I'm not quite sure if they'd be able to keep their top 4 position now over towards the end of the week.
I mean, OG, at the end of the day, though, we all know all they really want is the consistent point flow. And the moment they find themselves quite comfortable in the top 4, they do not only go for the flashy plays anymore. Week 1 is where OG went absolutely flashy, got those elimination points, got those chicken dinners. But then week 2, we saw OG switch things up a little bit. They also fizzled outside of the top 4 for a while, but then later on they gained the pace. They're now having a consistent pace.
That one thing is pretty good, and I agree on to that at least they take one early fight and they win that early fight. And then over towards the mid to late game, they're always finding themselves at least over towards the last 5 teams. So they're constantly getting those top 5 positions. That one thing is something that I'd really like from them. That consistency is good. But I really want to see the exact same thing from iQOO Seoul as well, right? Because this is a team that still wants to try and reach into the top 4, and it has got that potential.
Hey, but you know what? With the way things were in the previous game, Seoul definitely has to have a massive nuclear performance. Let's have a look at the match rankings and find out how many points exactly Seoul was able to get.
What?
And that's 42 points! Seoul was able to get a bounty as well in the process. Oh my god, this is mind-blowing stuff from Seoul. And it makes a lot of sense as well, because Seoul had the high ground to play with. They had so many lines of sight upon them, but even Seoul was able to dish out a lot of damage to the lobby. And this is a prime example of that. 22 finished points in total, 10 placement points. That's going to be 42 points. Absolutely insane. For Seoul, the game started off the moment they eliminated the players of Reckoning Esports. It was a proper squad wipe in the power play.
Wow. That's the biggest thing coming in for their side, right? And we've been talking about how Reckoning has been on the struggling end. Even Marcos Gaming and MyG lost Hermanos facing the exact same things. So could be said for True Rippers as well. Not really having the proper end of the day, considering they're only playing 2 games. So that's a bit of a problem for them. But man, that's one of the bonkers performance that we can see. Even OG were able to claim a bounty. Victorious Sumus were doing pretty decent. They were able to claim a bounty as well, right? So this new Victorious Sumus is something that I really like. Oh, what?
Interesting. Seoul has already breached in that top 4. Hero Extreme Godlike's kicked out. That is massive stuff from the side of Seoul. This is what you like to see from big banners. God's Reign in the 3rd spot, Revenant X-Park on the 2nd, OG on the 1st. That thing pretty much remains. But Seoul's entry, it's quite a heroic one. Genesis Esports finally dropping down from that 5th spot. After a long time, 8-bit on the 8th. Things are once again a little bit stable. The only move we've seen in the top 8 is Seoul moving up.
That's a big one, right? Because they are going to play the next 2 games as well. So, if anything, we might potentially see them still staying up in that top 4. That's a massive boost. And fun fact is that every other game that we've seen, which has been a 40 bomber, 50 bomber, has been on the week of Impact Player.
Indeed, they have been.
This is a normal weekday.
Hey, so they had vengeance and revenge in their mind because they knew the previous couple of games were not too good for them. And in this one single game, they pretty much covered up for all the mishaps that have happened in the past couple of days. The last page pops up on the screen. Likitha Esports on the 21st. Reckoning Esports still on the 20th spot. And for Reckoning Esports, as I've been mentioning over and over again, I like the initiative from them. They want to go for the bounty teams. They dropped on top of the players. So Seoul, of course, they wanted to take the advantage of the power play. Things not worked out, and that's why Reckoning Esports was eliminated.
It's absolutely fine, right? They're trying their best. They're trying some new things as well. And if you guys want to try out some new things, you want to make sure you take the Duolingo English test, ladies and gentlemen, which is accepted and trusted by 6,000 plus universities worldwide. That's something you would not want to miss out. Now, coming back to the conversation which you were mentioning. Yes, I agree. There's been some mishaps happening here and there for Reckoning. But yes, even I like their approach now of not having any care in the world. Because what's the worst that could happen? You can still remain in the bottom of the pack. What's the best that could happen? You can try and breach into top 12 if things go along your way.
Pretty much, and directly secure that ticket towards the semifinals, right? Because we all know playoffs, you've only got 4 games to prove yourself, and we all somewhere down the line know 4 games are not enough for you to prove your worth. You definitely need at least bare minimum 6 games for you to have a solid shot. But to be honest, even True Rippers should be part of the same spectrum because even their concerning performance in the week 3, it's not looking too good. Even at the end of the week 2, True Rippers' performance was degrading. And now in the week 3 as well, the same thing is carried on. I really hope in the upcoming game they do better. But for now, we've got a quick interview lined up, so let's move on and have a look at that.
Thank you, guys. Of course, I've got Prem, Orangutan ke manager. Are you the guy who gives them their salaries?
Mostly no, but और देती है तो yes.
Dude, that was just a joke. Listen, OG is doing really well. एक मैच में second, एक मैच में third, और अब वो number 1 पे जा चुके हैं on the leaderboard. But look, performance के बारे में हम बात करेंगे. Just trying to understand एक इतने लंबे tournament में, since you are a manager of a team which is a fancy team, क्या responsibilities हैं आपकी फिर?
हम लोग हमारे एकदम बेसिक गेम ही खेल रहे हैं, कुछ ऐसा चेंजेस नहीं है ना. हम लोग इतना फोकस्ड रहते हैं कि बाउंटी टीम है, हम तो एकदम अपना एकदम नेचुरल गेम खेलते हैं हम लोग. तो बस वही हम लोग का स्ट्रेंथ है कि हम लोग बेसिक गेम पे फॉलो करते हैं.
See, आप टीम को बाहर से देख रहे हैं और आपकी जो लाइनअप है वो कमाल की है. यू गॉट सम फिनोमिनल प्लेयर्स. AKOP इज पर्सनली माय फेवरेट. आई रियली लव द गाय ऑफ इट एंड ऑन इट ऑल्सो. बट इम्पॉर्टेंट सवाल ये है कि मोटिवेशन कितना जरूरी हो जाता है, बिकॉज इसमें स्टेज दर स्टेज यू हैव टू बी एट योर ए गेम. आप उसमें कैसे मदद करते हैं?
तो बेसिक 1 महीने का टूर्नामेंट है, तो हम लोग ऐसा मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ, फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ पे ज़्यादा अभी डिपेंड कर रहे हैं. हम लोग एकदम रूटीन में सुबह से लेके जो जितने भी दिन है रात तक हम लोग हमारे रूटीन में होते हैं, तो हम लोग को कोई वैसा ये नहीं है. 1 महीने का टूर्नामेंट है, ऑब्वियसली खाली गेम नहीं हो सकता है, बाकी चीजें भी देखनी पड़ती है. थोड़ा
आप पार्टी ऑर्गेनाइज करते हो उनके लिए?
पार्टी नहीं, बट थोड़ी बहुत ऐसे चीजें जैसा बोर्ड गेम्स खेल लिया, ये वो तो थोड़ा ऐसा कैजुअल बोलते हैं ना.
Did he just say board games? All right, Prem, I'm just kidding, man. Lekin OG obviously are having a party at the top spot on the leaderboard. Lenge ek break and we'll be back for game 3.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, 0 stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Come on, I think we're all a big fan of board games, right? Everyone loves board games.
You talk about Snake and Ladder, Ludo, Monopoly, and there's some new ones as well which you were mentioning. Yes, I absolutely love them.
I mean, it's not just about Monopoly and Snakes and Ladders. The board games are now advanced.
I agree.
Extremely advanced. You will need a lot of brain if you want to actually understand those board games. And scared maybe that's not really your cup of tea, but I will try my best to teach you someday. But we've got the upcoming map, which will be the map of Sanhok. And once again, we are going to have the group reshuffle. We will have one new group stepping inside of the action. Things will be fired up, and especially Seoul, now that they've found the momentum. I would love to see how well it's going to be carried on forward.
It's also the map of Sanhok as well, right? So that's going to be big play coming in from their side. I really want to see them bring themselves back up, but also got their cousins. They've got 8-bit now, back into the fray. It's Group C who will be playing in along with Genesis, K9, Godlike, who would want to try and reclaim their former glory of being in the top 4 itself, right? It's so many teams who've got that potential of being in the top 4. I really love that.
And especially if Seoul's not going to be consistent, well, easily that spot will be taken away by Hero Extreme Godlike, right? It's not going to be tough for them, and there's not really a lot of that cushion that Seoul has on the third spot anyways. But something that can help you guys and maybe put a massive smile on your face will also be this Nyx and Sinistro set, which is starting at just 10 UC. You can spin and unlock, and it's only for limited time, so make sure you guys are grabbing it as soon as possible.
It's the best thing, right? Whenever we hop onto the month-long BGMS, there's so many things that we can eventually grab up. Specifically currently now, how we've got this special Swiggy burgers as well. We've got so many things working out, and one of them is going to be the multicam feature on Jio Hotstar, people. You can watch the POV of Godlike, Revenant Expa, God's Reign, as well as Medal. Out here right now, you've got 3 of these teams who will be playing the next 2. So that's the best chance you can eventually go on to Jio Hotstar and use that multicam feature.
That's crazy if you think about it.
Yes.
You can watch the players play from their POV. That's absolutely insane. But yeah, soon the map of Sanhok is going to be popping up on the screen. We will also see that planned flight path, which should be the main dictator on how the game's going to be functioning. And we all know Sanhok, it brings in that anonymous aura big time. You never know if the zone's going to be shifting towards Camp Alpha, if it's going to be shifting towards Ruins or the right side. Yesterday we did see a Camp Alpha zone, and that was a major curveball in the entire game.
Maybe today we're going to see a Paradise Resort Circle as well. Maybe it's going to be God's Reign who will help have some fun time out there. My big question is Godlike going to jump in boot camp now since they do not have the bounty on top of them? I'm not quite sure if Mad Kings would really want to drop out there to try and hunt him. That's going to be a question that I have in my mind, and also I'll see how 8-bit is going to perform now.
That's the thing, right? Recently, Godlike hasn't really been dropping inside a boot camp. They've been dropping somewhere else. They're once again quite versatile with their drop location, but I would love to see a few drop clashes. Maybe one of those drop clashes can actually happen towards Paradise Resort. One of them can actually happen all the way down south towards Sami. There's a lot of potential probabilities that can happen. Even inside of Cal, we've seen Phoenix Esports constantly be contested by the players of TWOB.
Now that you talk about Phoenix Esports as well, there's one more thing that I wanted to announce out here, that they will be playing with 3 men. One of their players is eventually sick. I really hope it's not actually Goten because he carries majority of the firepower.
I'm pretty sure it's him. Because Phoenix Esports, the last time when they played with a 3-man squad, it was Goten who was sitting out.
Oh my god. It's going to be so unfortunate for the team.
Yeah, we all know if Goten's not going to be part of the lineup, Phoenix Esports, they're pretty much the same as they're not there in the lobby anymore.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem coming in out here right now. But you know, there's quite a lot of things that I really wanted to see specifically from this lineup of Godlike, right? I was having a word with Robin just a while ago. What we were discussing, I'm not going to tell you, but there was some discussion that he was having. Let's have a look at that.
इस साल गेम में ऐसा कौन सा डिसीजन है जिसका आपको सबसे ज्यादा रिग्रेट है और आप क्या अलग करते हैं?
पहले हम कुछ चीजें अलग कर रहे थे कि वो प्लेयर हमारे हिसाब से अडॉप्ट हो रहा था, बट अब इस बार ऐसा है कि पूरी टीम एक न्यू जोन मेटा में साथ में हमको टाइम है कि हम एक पूरी प्ले स्टाइल बिल्ड कर सकते हैं चारों के हिसाब से, न्यू प्लेयर के हिसाब से भी, तो उसके हिसाब से टीम भी रन कर सकती है और अच्छा खेल सकती है, तो उस हिसाब से हम चीजें देख रहे हैं और जरूर दिखेगा आपको वो चीज.
Robin talking about how things have switched up recently even inside of the meta and how the team functions. And God's Reign is one of those teams that has been doing quite okay for themselves around the top 4 as well. Currently sitting inside of the top 4 with the bounty on top of their heads. And if they do end up directly qualifying for the grand finals, well, that will be the icing on top of the cake for them.
I'm not quite sure if Destro would want that icing on top of
he
his
mentioned
cake.
that.
Exactly. He's like, yeah, I don't really want that cherry. You guys can have that. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the cake of semi-finals. Because
it'll be fun, right? Destro just throwing away the points.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you know what, guys? You guys want bounty? Yeah, just come over here. I'm right here. I do not want to be a part of the top 4 anyways. I just want to be in the top 12. Eliminate us, claim the bounty points.
But that's the only thing that unfortunately it is not allowed. So,
of course,
won't happen out there right away. But who knows? Who knows? There's a lot of maybes happening out there. One of those maybes is, will OG again show their domination on this map? Because we've multiple times seen how solid they are on Sanhok.
If God's Reign really do not want to be in the top 4, the best possible thing I can see God's Reign doing is just going down the place. Aggressive. Just don't care. Be so ruthless that you're playing a normal competitive game. A normal ranked game.
What if they win those fights?
Well, then the grand finals are inevitable, I guess. But at this point, we've got the plane in the skies once again, starting all the way from Tambang towards the opposite side with just Cow. If the teams do want to move in towards the extremities like Dogs, now that's going to be a tough stretch since the plane flat path is heavily tilted towards the top left. And will we see a Camp Alpha zone once again?
I'm not quite sure. I think so. It's going to move in over towards Pan area. I thought that maybe it's going to be Paradise Resort maybe early on. Seeing God's Reign jump over there, and they've got the bounty on top of them, right? If I'm not wrong, there are 3 bounty teams playing right now.
Yep.
Could also be all 4 of them. Just have to get a check on that. And there's another team that's actually dropping near God's Reign. I believe it's 4TR. We might potentially see that early drop clash coming in. And again, towards Bootcamp as well, it's going to be TWOB. Godlike, they're moving all the way towards Pan itself. Or rather, it's a split drop coming in from Godlike.
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that split drop. But we've got a drop clash once again between the players of Mad Kings and someone else that is right next to him. But God's Reign towards Paradise Resort, they found themselves in troubled waters. And this time 4TR, they're definitely putting in a lot of work.
Levi
already found the advantageous spot, Levi. Unfortunately, at this point in time, the man does not even have anything to play with. He's only got the explosive bow. But honestly, if you gave a melee in this man's hands, maybe he can slice and dice the opponents.
He's got a thing that the other side is a Beast Titan, so we might potentially see that right now. He's got the M249 to play with. The player is Neo, of course, people. It's just the character that he's using. It's Levi. I have been an anime V for such a long time, so that eventually pick it up instantly. But this is the exact clash I was talking about, right? Since God's Reign, they're carrying the bounty on top of their head. It's all 4 teams with the bounty who are playing in this game. And Hermanos just blows himself up.
Not exactly sure what happened there, but Hero Extreme Godlike definitely. Those rookie mistakes will be punished. God's Reign. With how the fight kicked off, it's definitely not looking too good. But God's Reign, they're still winning those duels, which is quite a good thing. Pushing in tandem, shutting down the players of 4TR. Tables now flipped against 4TR. And Pain. He looks good and dandy. He looks healthy. But God's Reign, they started things off with the man advantage. Now they've got the man advantage with them. And now the fact that 3 players stand against the 2 remaining players of 4TR. I highly doubt 4TR is going to stand a chance to do anything. Pain is live as well, was taken down a sliver of HP, but look who's right there on the horizon, waiting to third party. It's Genesis Esports in the outskirts closing up.
I'm not a big fan of it. I still remember what happened to them previously when they were facing Sanhok. We'll have to see if that happens again right now. Genesis were not able to win the fight out there. And considering God's Reign are still 3 men strong, they've decided to back off. Not going in for this fight again. And this circle is moving over towards the eastern side, right? Northeast specifically, if we talk about it. Paradise almost over towards the center as well. So at least the next couple of zones will be there.
Oh, look at 8-Bit.
Admino is still knocked down. That's
someone just drowned to death.
Interesting.
I'm not sure what exactly happened there, but I hope we get to see what exactly went wrong. As Power's knocked out and confirmed a while ago, so 8-Bit starting things off with just a 3-man squad. But even Marcos Gaming, they've taken heavy beating upon themselves. Stone BGMI eliminated from the game. 8-Bit still with the man advantage inside of the fight. Equinox from the opposite fray. He's doing a lot of damage. He's putting in a lot of work. The second man goes down for Marcos Gaming. One more man still remains. It's Bad OP in the opposite building. He's got the Vector to play with in the up close and personal combats. But he does not really have the extended magazine, but still he can shred through the opponents. 9 bullets in the magazine of the MP40. Fight wanted to get the fresh one, but that's when he got caught off guard. But there's also a third party right around the horizon. It's going to be the players of Soul who want to eliminate the remnants of 8-Bit.
Here's the thing now. Cousins now going to be fighting out there with an advantage for Soul. Goblin instantly getting a knock on to Equinox as well. That's going to be a problem because now this renders 8-Bit only to a 2-man squad. Or rather just a duo. It's legitimately a 2v4 that you've got to try and pull out. Comparison, it's going to be the fact that there's just so many people with all those utilities as well. But Soul themselves are fighting 2 different battles right now.
8-Bit, they're trapped. Not exactly sure what can be done, but what was that knock from Legit? A pre-fire around the corner and Legit is able to shut down the remaining players. There's no remnants of 8-Bit anymore in this lobby. It's like they never existed. But at least 8-Bit got 8 points before they got eliminated from the game, so standing true to their name.
4 finishes out there and the power play means 8 points for you. A big play coming in for the side of 8-Bit, but again, Soul themselves, as I mentioned, they are being chased by the members of NoNx.
Yeah.
A couple of players been taken down already, so they can claim this bounty.
With just a 2-man squad, I highly doubt Soul can do a lot. Utilities tossed out from NoNx to find some sort of stability, and they already do find that stable point. First knock is found. Soul in a world of trouble, Legit all by himself, and he gets bum rushed from all the different angles. Soul will be eliminated from the game as well. It's not a lot of eliminations that Soul was able to gather, so that's going to be 6 points out of this game. But the previous game, it was so massive, it really covers up for it.
Big point coming in. And we've been talking about how this team has been on that constant rise, right? If you're really looking at them at the 11th spot, yes, 327 points. But you look at the rest of them. Global Esports, 341. NoNx already have 4 points. You talk about 10 more points from the bounty, that is already 18 points. This team is going to move up close to Global Esports. That's going to be top 9. If they get this game in their pocket, I'm pretty sure they will be taking a big leap, maybe even barging into the top 8.
Probably.
What a story this could be.
Indeed, it can be massive. But as of now, OG, with all the 4 players, they want to pinch NoNx. They've already got them pinned down in the corner. And NoNx now finally deciding to break through the shackles of OG. They go for a long rotation. 2 players still in the compound, and OG knows what exactly NoNx is doing. Look at Kalyuk, the man's out in the open. For NoNx, they might just be in a world of trouble. And Athanki, he's got his eyes pinned. The entirety of OG, they've got the fuel trap set up. Just waiting for the right moment to strike. Waiting for someone from NoNx to walk out in the open. And since the Blue's already on the move, NoNx has to move quickly. Athanki, he finally sees the man in the front. Anonymous spotted, and that will be a confirmed knock. Elimination point, though, still not secured out of that. But NoNx, they found themselves in the worst possible spot. Even Kana goes down. That's a major blunder for NoNx. The 2 players that they sent all the way on top of the hill, even they messed up.
AK instantly getting that 1 player as well, so that's big. And then look at the discipline of OG. Instantly moving back all the way towards the safety of the circle right now. There's still 1 more player they've got to deal with. 2 if you really talk about it. And it's both the members of NoNx right now. They've got to try and take this fight. It's a 2v2 if you're really looking at it. And Kalyuk already getting 1. He wants to go for the confirmation. But it's still down to the last 1v1. Can NoNx claim the second bounty? No is the answer. Wizgod saves OG from embarrassment. And they convert some big points for themselves.
There's still 1 from the side of NoNx who's alive. And that's going to be Kalyuk. The man's already making the pounce. He's on the run against the players of OG. He wants to chase them down, punish them even more, because Kalyuk knows OG's hurt. But this nade, it was so well cooked that Kalyuk, he got absolutely evaporated into thin air.
Talk about spoiling the fight. Foreshadowing. That's what I did there. But at least OG are now going to survive with all of these 4 finishes in their back pocket. They'll be ready to move all the way back up now. Looking at the circle, again, half of it is empty over towards Mognai, Camp Bravo, All the houses on the shorelines. It's better not being occupied because this circle will take another shift. My question is, were OG able to claim those finishes on the power play, or was that in stage 2? Because I'm pretty sure on Anonymous it was in the power play, but apart from that, maybe it was not.
I don't think it was. They were all the way back in the blue, and by then, I think the zone was already closed up. But it's fine, we'll find that out once the zone does pop up. And once the match rankings as well in the end are revealed.
Oh, Goten is here.
Phoenix Esports. Luckily enough for them, Goten's over here. Ash and Archit as well. Juthan is the man who's sick. Hopefully he gets well soon. But Phoenix Esports, with how things are shaping out for them towards this compound, and with just a 3-man squad, getting the game in their hands just gets even tougher. And I feel like Phoenix Esports is one of those teams that has already accepted the fate. They know they're going to move in towards the playoffs, and they do not want to do anything to deal with it.
At this point, they just want to get in their groove and make sure that the 4 games in playoffs that you'll have to play, they're worth it. Just get back into the form. Try and get the maximum points out of here. Try and figure out what works best for you. The journey is still pretty long, to be honest. Maybe they can get a few extra points for themselves, get that confidence back, maybe take some pressure off of the shoulders of Goten.
But once again, it's going to be tough.
Very.
Since Goten has been the main playmaker since the start. And now he actually needs to perform at his peak once again. His team desperately needs the points. And Phoenix Esports, for some reason, they're not opting to play it passive. K9 Esports on the side of Phoenix Esports.
Oh my god.
The next zone's going to be shifting right on top of the players of Phoenix Esports. NoNx as well. There's that one man. NINZA Beard Baba as well, a part of it. You've also got TWOB around that fray. And even God's Reign Destro towards the left. A lot of teams starting to stack up, and we all know soon chaos will be unfolding. Dragon OP from NINZA inside of that shack, and he knows what exactly is happening around him. But he's still not revealing his position yet. Waiting for the players of God's Reign to step inside of that shack so he can eliminate them from the game.
One of the best things about God's Reign here right now was the fact that they were able to move freely out of the Paradise Resort, because these southern hills, they're not really the best. A lot of problems coming in though. NINZA out there, the fight's not happened pretty and it's gonna stay the same. Dragon, the first man, being deleted again. Delta was already taken down. Justin barely breathing, but he'll get himself back up with the first aid. 2 finishes each. Justin and Neo. Nestro's yet to open up his account. They're going to try and get Beard Baba as well. But yeah, the smoke, it's been creating problems. Not really getting that information which they need, but
indeed.
Neo constantly jumping. He's getting that. So he will get to know that Beard Baba is not in this compound.
God's Reign especially. Looking at the position they've got, somehow things can be good for them.
Yeah.
NINZA Dragon OP was in the close of fray, but God's Reign, they were able to sniff him out. And now that even K9 Esports is a part of the final few moments, K9 Esports can definitely collapse on top of the players of Phoenix Esports anytime. And especially on the map of Phoenix Esports, the main problem has always been that drop clash they had towards Cal.
Yeah.
A lot of the times they ended up losing that drop clash, or at least ended up taking a lot of damage upon themselves. And they did not have the full team alive to sustain the entire game. But at least in this game, we're seeing Phoenix Esports a little bit more disciplined, which is a good thing. But still, they need to combine this discipline with a few more elimination points.
Maybe that could happen considering Goten is playing and the rest of the members are also feeling pretty solid. The circle shift has also been on them. Maybe that could happen. One of the best thing about it is Out here, as we saw that previous fight too, OG were able to get that one finish in the power play. Apart from that, rest of them, yeah, not so much.
Phoenix Esports. Let's see how lucky they're going to be with this next zone shift. If it's going to take a zone shift down south, things will be problematic. But no, instead, still shift right on top of the players of God's Reign. Even Phoenix Esports a part of it. TWOB down south. Global Esports will make a rotation inside of the zone too. The open grounds are down south. For teams like Global Esports who are just breaching in, there will be a lot of concerns and problems.
Same goes for OG. If anything, they've got two other teams as well in front of them. Can't even decide to slam onto one of them, because as soon as they do, there's going to be a third party. And then there's Omega as well close by, which you mentioned about. K9 being up towards the north. They're going to try and go in for another fourth party as well. OG, they've got that bounty as well on top of them. Soul's bounty was already claimed by the members of NoNx. Got to get the confirmation about Revenant X Park. God's Reign, one of their players was already taken down during that drop clash. If I'm not wrong, it was with the members of OTR. So their bounty is invalid as well.
OG. So far, they've acquired 4 elimination points. But unfortunately for them, WizGod gets knocked out. Revival will be there soon, as there is one of the players from OG going for that revival. WizGod back upon his feet. OG looking much more stable. But a lot more stability can be found once they breach inside of the safety lines. And that's where things can be interesting. The moment OG breaches in, there will not be enough space for OG to find themselves a good spot. And OG will need to go for a fight no matter what. And that's what OG is doing. OG, they rammed their vehicles on the compound of Genesis Esports. And now Genesis Esports, they've got too much on their plate. Zap, he was still able to shut down one of the players. But that's not going to be enough. The entire force of OG still standing alive, as they look to shut down a few more players of Genesis Esports to keep themselves on the advantage side of the spectrum. But Gravity, even he gets lifted up and eliminated from the game, as OG are the one to come out on top. But now K9, they third party.
That's the party. I was about to say that they've got to win this fight cleanly, because then K9, they're going to bounce back onto them though. But Ninja Boy, he gets taken down as well. Omega, he's got to try and make his move as he's the last man standing. K9, things could not have been worse for them.
Even TWOB is a part of this action. From the far fray, constantly going for those shots, and K9 Esports now facing the brunt. K9, what just happened? They wanted to execute this third party, but they messed up big time. Utilities finding a lot of that connection. Aru unfortunately nades his own teammate. In OG, a fight that should have been theirs in a clean way might just be messed up a little bit. K9 Esports, Ninja Boy back upon his feet. Omega still going for those shots. Accidentally shoots that horse as well in the way, but fine. But OG, there's definitely a lot of those problems that they're not able to deal with that well.
Oh
and
my
Omega,
God,
what a quick shot that was! Man, absolutely stunned with that DBS play. But Omega, he still needs to be the one to lead the pack. But in the end, as he collapses, it will be a dominant effect for K9.
My big point is, why the TWO will not decide to go on for this third party. This was the best decision that they could have took, and then gain control of the entire Eastern fray though. But OG have been given another life. They've been given another chance right now as Global Esports, they're taking fight against TWOB. They want to try and steal away those compounds, but Spray God is down on his feet.
Global Esports, the position they've got, I don't really see a lot of possible ways Global Esports can steal a big game away. And especially with these utilities now starting to hurt from TWOB, it's looking even better for them. TWOB finding the success, finding the advantage in this game, and they want to push it to the maximum. Still a few players at TWOB. They're in a concerning spot. As Picar's knocked out, the revival will be there soon.
OG, they're moving in as well, and this could be the best chance for OG to try and third party the members of TWOB. And that's exactly what iQOO is doing. Instantly taking down one. Vishu, he had the off angle now, but since he fired the shots, the idea is going to be there. WizGod as well moving in between. Goten's position in almost that off center is going to be crucial.
TWOB, the next zone shift is important, and it's going to center on up once again out in the open. Global Esports, with the position and the split they've got. Manya, Veron, Troy right next to each other. Phoenix Esports,
big.
They win that duel. And as you mentioned, it's massive. Ash is knocked out, going for that revival's impossible, so Ash is pretty much a gone case. But they still need to focus on the future. Even Archit falls down. Godin now the only man standing. And once again, he needs to carry that Phoenix Esports' flag. Archit confirmed.
I'm not quite sure what the idea was for Phoenix Esports to play 3 single men on 3 different positions. That to considering this is such an open zone.
You understand? That's why I've been questioning the IGL over and over again.
That's a very big blunder if you really talk about it.
The IGLing has been shaky from Phoenix Esports. And Ash, since he's the IGL, yeah, the decision-making has been bad. But at least as of now, TWOB, man, they faced a lot of brunt. Picard the only man. And now he's going up against Manya. Manya's got that cavalry available, and the moment Troy closes up, Manya will have a lot of assistance, but he does not need it. Single-handedly dominates TWOB and eliminates them from the game.
TWOB in these fights have been looking absolutely disastrous. That's exactly what happened to them. This was their fight to be won, but big problem coming in. Kotain, you talk about this man always winning his 1v1s, but it's 2v1 where he faces the problems.
But he still gets the one.
Exactly.
He wins that 1v1 at the end of the day. Eliminates that player as well from the game. I've never seen this guy lose a 1v1. You put this man in a 1v1 in a fight, he will never lose that duel. Unless if there are 2 players, then of course the trade game can be played better. But Godin, he's absolutely insane in those mechanical skills. But at least as of now, OG, they're still live and cooking inside of the game. God's Reign, the man overstepped a bit too much. He was knocked out. Revival's being stuck, so Neo will be back upon his feet. Global Esports somehow a 3-man strong squad. Veron's knocked out, that's a bit of a concern, and Global Esports should be able to get that revival soon.
Not quite sure if they'd be able to do that or not, right? Because they don't seem interested in that. Manya is moving all the way towards where Aru is. And right now Troy is taking fight against the members of God's Reign. Troy also falls down, so it's down to Manya. This chicken dinner is of God's Reign. The question is, how long will Aru survive?
That's what seems like it on paper. Especially the zone with the weights forming out. Justin, him being knocked out is not a good news at all. And we know, whoever the zone is favoring, it's their chicken dinner. And God's Reign, they've got the zone advantage. And I highly doubt anyone's going to be able to steal it away from them. There is that one man from OG. If he does manage to play that spanner, then maybe things can be better for Global Esports. And they can take the advantage off that. But Global Esports is getting constantly beaten up. And there's no way they can survive now. Aru's still creeping and crawling.
Hold on.
The blue's on the move. He's moving up with the blue himself. But there's no way he's going to be able to clutch it out. There's no way in the world Aru will be able to pull off a massive clutch and secure a chicken dinner.
Yeah, his position, it's going to be revealed after he deploys any utility. No smokes remaining whatsoever. Just a nade and a few mollies to work with.
Oh no, he shouldn't have tossed that nade.
Hold
he
on.
blind tosses that nade, does soften up one of the players. The blue's constantly on the tail. And Aru, he needs to be quick. Gets back upon the feet, but he's also getting shot at all the way from the far fray. And Aru will not stand a chance. It is God's Reign to claim the chicken dinner that they deserved. It was Global Esports that tried their best to stop the players of God's Reign, but the zone played its game and favored the players of God's Reign in the end.
That was a big play coming in from God's Reign. Always occupying the position over towards the northwest. Clearing every other team right now. This is something I wanted to say. Back on the map of Erangel, that could have been a God's Reign game. If they would have taken the fight against Aryan, had they decided to commit onto that, that would have been their game 100%.
Of course.
And that's the discussion I was also having with Robin. I was like, I mean, don't you think that they should have committed to Aryan? And he was like, absolutely. That was the best possible decision. But realizing what your mistake was and then fixing that is the way of this team. They did exactly that right now.
And the crazy part is, God's Reign, they were constantly playing around that centric part as well. On the map of Sanhok, that's what you need to do. Hold down the center and hope that the zone's going to be farming on top of you. And if the zone is constantly favoring you, well, then no one's going to be stopping you from claiming that chicken dinner. And that's what happened there in the end. The zone just popped right on top of the players of God's Reign. And God's Reign knew it's their game to lose, and they pretty much came out on top in the end. But for now, let's move on to the stage for a quick interview with the players of God's Reign.
देखिए कंसिस्टेंसी पे तो कोई सवाल है ही नहीं क्योंकि GDR ने एक और चिकन डिनर उठाया बट इज दिस अ साइन ऑफ थिंग्स टू कम GE ओरंगुटान GDR इन अ फाइनल बैटल क्या हम लोग अपनी क्रिस्टल बॉल में फ्यूचर की तरफ देख रहे हैं
नहीं आई थिंक GE आपने नाम लिया GDR OG सारे अच्छा खेल रहे हैं एंड आई थिंक जो अभी टॉप 8 टीम्स हैं काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग कंटेंडर्स हैं फॉर द फाइनल्स एंड मज़ा आ रहा है मेरे को तो खेलने में इतना ही बोलूँगा
भाई जिस तरीके से मैच जा रहा था एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली क्योंकि चिकन डिनर जो है वो इम्पॉर्टेंट है अगर आप इस हफ्ते फिनिश करना चाहते हैं टॉप 4 में टू मेक इट टू द ग्रैंड फाइनल्स ऐसी फाइट्स जो हैं वो कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट होती है वे यू टेकिंग ऑन द बेस्ट टीम्स दैट कुड आल्सो पॉसिबली बी इन द फाइनल्स विद यू
नहीं हम इतना ऐसे सोचते नहीं है ना कि हमें इतना ऐसा है कि हम टॉप 4 आना चाहते हैं हमारा ऐसा है कि हम आए तो आए नहीं आए तो नहीं आए हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं उस चीज़ से बस हम ऐसा है कि जो अपना प्लान है उसी पे स्टिक करते हैं और खेलते हैं बाकी कोई भी टीम आए बीच में
और इन दोनों के बीच में डिस्कशन चल रही है वो स्प्रे के ऊपर चल रही है क्या डिस्कशन आरू के ऊपर जो लेफ्ट राइट हो गई थी
हाँ वही चल रही थी
क्या हुआ था वहाँ पे भाई
नहीं कुछ हुआ नहीं था वो पीछे चला गया था और फिर स्पॉट नहीं हो रहा था और मैं ओवर कमिट कर गया उस पर
हाउ लॉन्ग आर यू गोइंग टू कीप थिंकिंग अबाउट इट क्योंकि जीत गए हो नाउ यू शुड बी थिंकिंग अबाउट द विन
नहीं ऐसा सोच तो नहीं रहे हैं बट पता है क्या हुआ है तो ठीक है
Alright, listen, it doesn't matter, right? क्योंकि analysis चलती रहेंगी within the team and even with our casters. But the more important thing is GDR picks up another chicken dinner. We take a break and be right back.
Cheat code, bro.
No code.
So, a script then, or a bot?
No script.
Alright, class. For today's lesson...
I already taught her something.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
We were having a conversation about how God's Reign does not want to be part of the top 4, but now they end up securing a chicken dinner, which just solidifies that spot even more.
I mean, that's the big thing, right? I'm pretty sure that they're like, you know what, we're going to use that extra break of the day as well. Maybe we're going to scan some Swiggy coupons and we can get those burgers at just ₹99, that too with free delivery. So you do not want to miss out on that option as well, people. Now, as you mentioned, yeah, God's Reign. It's like, it's been a cakewalk for them coming in. But one of the players that actually got my attention was Aru, and with the way how he managed to get OG to the second spot.
I mean, especially with how OG has been performing. Once again, it's the same consistent strength from the side of OG. Even the map of Miramar, we saw OG there in the final few moments. And now in this game as well, OG was there in the final few moments, getting that constant point flow. And this is what I mentioned. OG, they are currently at the top. They do not want to bring in any sort of flashy plays. They just want to stay at the top, get the bare minimum, and OG's doing that perfectly well. The MVP of that game is going to be Godin once again, carrying his team on the back with 100% finish contribution. This is the only man that's doing anything for Phoenix Esports.
I mean, I want other people to step up right now, man. Goten has been in the flashy light for such a long time, but he's just not really getting that success that he needs to get because the rest of the members of the team, they are struggling so much. He's been out there. He's going to be the man who goes all out. Apart from that, Vizgod goes in for 5 rescues now. That's interesting. Quite a few knocks coming in, and he was the man who was giving those constant revives, even in the fight against NoNx, and then after that against Genesis and K9 as well. While if you look at the finisher, that's going to go to Justin. 3 finishes out here, and he was the man who got that last finish, and it was also on Aru. So OG was basically everywhere.
Pretty much. I mean, OG, they were there in the final few moments, getting those elimination points. Aru was there in the top 3. Global Esports managed to secure that second spot, if I'm not wrong. But even for Global Esports, it was quite a decent game. And since it was also their first game today, Global Esports got a decent start. OG's pretty much playing for the bare minimum. For God's Reign, they just solidified a good spot in that top 4 even more. And even the players in the interview clearly mentioned, right? It's not like they're aiming for the top 4, but if they do end up in the top 4, it's completely fine.
I mean, that's that then. That's how good they are, because they're saying that top 8 teams, they're the ones who are really solid for contesting that top 4 spot, right? And I kind of agree, but at the same time, another team that actually got my attention was definitely NoNx. Winners of the previous map of Miramar, iQOO carrying the bounty on top of their head. As soon as they got that, NoNx were able to steal it away. So that was a big play coming in from their side.
Especially for Seoul, I feel like they pretty much got the gap covered up in that one massive game that they got on Miramar. With, 42 points? I don't think Seoul needs to perform for the entire day anymore, because those many points, that's going to help Seoul pretty much pin themselves down in that spot. And since Hero Extreme Godlike was not able to get any sort of points racked up in that game, it just gets even better because Hero Extreme Godlike is the team that's on the tail for Seoul.
They've constantly been trying to chase them down, finish them off though, but still, my entire attention was going into this one fight, right? K9, they almost had this one big opportunity to try and close things out, but again, it was OG to save their own day itself. Big play coming in for their side. Now this is my question as to who fell first. I think so it was Global Esports who eventually fell first, and then Aru was taken down. So it was pretty close. It was almost at the very same time, man.
There was also TWOB in that fight where K9 Esports wanted to go for that third party, and unfortunately for K9 Esports, a few of their frags were also taken away by TWOB, and even TWOB was able to dish out a lot of damage against K9 Esports, and that's why that third party was not too successful. Match rankings pop up on the screen, 22 points from God's Reign. That's a solid performance. You spoke about OG. They were there in the top 3, getting 19 points. As I mentioned, OG's not really going for the flashy plays anymore, but still getting 19 points. That's the icing on top of the cake. NoNx getting 18 points as well from that game. Phoenix Esports, it was quite a decent game.
Yeah, because eventually getting 4 position points with all those eliminations as well, after which a couple of eliminations were in the power play itself, so, or at least one of them. That's a big performance coming in for their roster, though. Disappointments on the other side now. Godlike not getting anything, but NINZA as well, just getting 2 points out here. It's a lot of problems coming in for all of that lineup now. A big lead, or rather not a big lead, but a decent cushion. OG is trying to make 4 chicken dinners coming in for their side, 70 bonus points, 256 eliminations now. Talk about the finishes, this team is unmatched.
They indeed are. I mean, inside of the overall standings, there was Hero Extreme Godlike before that game, and Miramar in the top 4. But now since Seoul is breached in, that's the only change we've seen in the top 4 for today's day. The remaining 3 teams, they're constantly there in the top 3. They're pretty much unmovable at this point. The second page pops up, Global Esports almost around that top 8 on the 9th spot, pretty close.
Yeah, and also NoNx now closely chasing them as well on the 10th spot. Now that's a big thing coming in from their side. Almost reaching into that top 8 itself. If the next game goes good, I'm pretty sure they'd be able to do that. Look at the Esports moving a little bit up, but again, being on that 21st spot, not really the best possible place where you want to be at.
I'm not exactly sure how NoNx is able to replicate such a good, consistent game. Why were they not able to bring up the same performance in the week 1? If they would have done so, maybe they would have been in the top 4 already.
I agree. Maybe it's something that, in week 1 they were testing the waters, they were trying to understand as to how teams were playing. Because most of that was very aggressive. We were seeing a lot of early fights, power play being utilized as well. If I'm not wrong, it was week 2 when teams decided to play a little bit slow when we were talking about how competitive the game is right now, because they were not really utilizing those early power-ups. So I think so NoNx, they were trying to find their own footing in all of that, and now they've done that.
I mean, especially with this group switch-up that we saw coming in, and Hero Extreme Godlike, the first game pretty much failed. I'm pretty sure now there's going to be a bit of that pressure on top of the players of Hero Extreme Godlike, since we're going to move on towards the last game in a few moments. Even 8-Bit's there in the top 8. For 8-Bit, unfortunately, they got third-partied quite quickly, and that's why 8-Bit was not able to pretty much understand what happened with them.
Yeah, that's one of the big things, 8-Bit. But good thing is they at least got those 8 elimination points, right? So they're going to be pretty happy about that. After that, yes, that was a bit of a problem, but it's absolutely cool. They were still performing decently. They're getting those 8 to 10 average points in every other game. So I think so Somraj is going to be happy with the boys.
I'm still really worried for Phoenix Esports. I genuinely do believe there's still a massive chance if Phoenix Esports does start taking advantage of the power play, if they do start taking advantage of the bounty system as well, and start hunting them down. We've seen a clear disparity on how good they are when it comes to playing that aggressive gameplay, how good they are when it comes to taking those fights, and mechanical skills have been on point for Phoenix Esports. But when it comes to playing that safe and passive gameplay, that's where Phoenix Esports ends up struggling.
I think so. That's something that they have to really work upon right now, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe they can try and fix things up. Maybe there's going to be some more hiccups coming in. We'll find that out after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
He was taken too soon. I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
How did we go from bathtub to battleground?
Gemini on Android, bro. Anything can happen.
Press to create videos.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born. They practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Unlock BGMI's new gold spin starting at just 10 UC. Limited time offer on Google Play.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The final game of the day will load up on the screen soon, and still a few comebacks are expected. Maybe teams like NINZA, Marcos Gaming can do even better than what they're currently doing, but NoNx's improvement, it's been remarkable, it's been quite noticeable, and with how they've been able to get the consistent point flow, it's insane from NoNx.
I really want to see the exact same thing from NINZA as well, because if NoNx can do it, then the other teams on the lower board can as well. Same goes for the lineup of Phoenix Esports. I mean, rising from the ashes, this could be the best story for themselves.
It indeed can be. And especially for Phoenix Esports, now the fact that they're just playing with a 3-man squad, I'm not exactly sure what they can do. With a 3-man squad, the basic rule is to play with each other. To play right next to each other. And if they are separating out, they will be eliminated one by one. You just do not have enough firepower to sustain all of that damage upon yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you'd really need to try and figure out for yourselves, right? Because whenever you're down to 3-man squad, you either go fully aggressive or you go passive. For teams like God's Ray, they tend to go passive, right? And I think so for Phoenix Esports, since they're on nothing to lose, the best thing they could do is eventually brush up their own mechanical skills a little bit more.
And speaking of mechanical skills, even Genesis Esports, they need to amp it up a little bit, right?
A lot.
Yeah, Genesis Esports, they've been on a massive dip at the end of the week 2, and especially at the start of the week 3 as well. The performance is completely lacking at Genesis Esports. They need to amp up the aggression and maybe once again get back in the groove, the same groove they were at the start of the week 2. Before now, the plane's going to be in the skies once again, starting all the way from shooting range towards the opposite side, which is Sanhok military base, and this plane flight path, scared. It's tilted a little bit to the left side. If the teams do want to move in towards Lipovka, now that's going to be a tough stretch.
Yeah, teams who would want to drop towards Stolper as well, and I'm talking about Godlike, they're going to face some troubles out here. Bit of problems coming in. For Yasna Poliana, yeah, you're going to have a long stretch of time in the air, but you'll be able to reach it eventually. K9 taking an early exit, going back towards Severny. They're going to have their own fun time too. And since we're talking about those mechanical skills, let's be honest, dude, K9 has also not been looking like their own true self.
True. And that's been throughout the entire tournament, right? It's not like in this tournament, once we saw K9 Esports just go absolutely guns blazing, do extremely good. No, the performance has been lacking since the start. And that's been a main concern with K9 Esports. I've been mentioning this. You talk about Beast, Ninja Boy, Slug. The mechanical skills on these guys, it's insane. And still, for some reason, it feels like something is holding them back. Something is not really letting them showcase their true potential in the playground. But I really want K9 Esports to go aggressive and start ripping through teams that are right next to them.
I think so. It's probably because of the change in the playstyle as well for a lot of these teams, considering we're talking about BGMS, right? We're having a look at the circle as it moves in all the way over towards the left. So the teams who are having their fun time in hospital, maybe around the Georgia Pole, city, containers, they're going to have a fun time.
Phoenix Esports, they've got TWB right next to him. So that's going to be a potential drop clash that might just happen soon.
MG as well.
Phoenix Esports with just a 3-man squad. Marcus Gaming, they've got a massive split if you speak about them. But TWB, they've got all the 4 players in line. And today, TWB has been doing okay compared to all the other days that we've seen so far.
They're at least trying to take those early fights as well. And now we're finally seeing them as well in those top 5s at least. So that's a good thing, if you really talk about it. I think so that's something that they themselves might be very happy. Getting that trust back into the IGL, that's the first step of bringing yourself back.
Godin, Ash, Archit, next to each other, playing in tandem. And this is what you want, especially when you're surrounded by a team like TWB. The performance amp that we've seen so far from TWB today itself, it's not enough to, of course, propel themselves towards a greater good. But at least it is something that can help them move on a bit better in the future. And TWB can use the same momentum tomorrow as well. And maybe keep on pushing up slowly and steadily in the overall standing. Still, a decent bit of games are left. And if TWB is aggressive enough, if they do end up getting a lot of elimination points in the power play, it can be done. They need one nuclear performance that can help them boost up, and that can also get the wind of the sails. They will be confident enough, and then later on, they can move up with that same pace.
I really want to see them move back up with that. Can't have them sitting all the way down at the bottom for such a long time. That exact same pace was shown by Soul as well with that 40+ bomber, but in the previous one they got fizzled out. That's a little bit troublesome, but it's fine. At least they've got a decent cushion against the 5th placing team. And this is one of the big reasons that I say that Group B and C are the most competitive group. You look at top 10. 9 of the 10 teams are from this group.
True. And especially, the lucky thing is that all the four teams that have got the bounty on top of their head are playing in this group as well.
Exactly.
So this lobby, they can actually take the advantage off that and punish those bounty teams. Claim the extra 10 points and maybe end up getting a chicken dinner as well. That will be a nuclear performance that's booting up. But as of now, Phoenix Esports, the pressure's been applied constantly from the side of TWB. Nothing concerning happening yet, but there is Ash up close and personal. But Godin, he already kickstarts things as he finds the knock into confirmation towards Pakar. Oh, he steps out in the open, and Pakar, he needs to face the brunt once again. Anonymous shutting down Morty in the elimination feed. That's another fight that's happening all over the place. But as of now, between Phoenix Esports and TWOB, at least the fight's taken down to an equalizer.
That's a big thing. And if you really look at the HPs of the members of TWOB, they have been chipped down by Goten. His nades have been impeccable. So it's about time that the rest of the members could eventually get those finishes as well. Like, this is the best opportunity.
It indeed is. And since Phoenix Esports, they've started things off with the advantage, this should be the confidence booster. Ash, I'm not sure what sort of a game plan now this man's going to come up with. But whatever it is, he needs to help his teammates regain that confidence and that aggression. TWOB, they've managed to reunite once again. And look at Ash. He pushed up, does a decent bit of damage, but the damage is not enough.
No bullets.
TWOB still safe and sound. 4 bullets in the magazine, and Ash once again drops down like a rookie. By watching this guy, who's going to say he was one of the most experienced players in the lineup? But now Archit and Godin left to do the heavy lifting as they need to shut down the remnants of TWOB. Mac, another guy in the front, and TWOB now getting absolutely dismantled. As even Admino from Godlike step in the fray. Hero Extreme Godlike going for the third party. There's also NoNx right around the verge. It's actually NINZA. And even NINZA can collapse and go for the third party, and that's what the game plan is.
There's Marcos Gaming as well, who are just on the edge of the fray. They might also want to drop into this entire fight. This is the third party we've been talking about. Just 2 players remaining for Phoenix. But the good thing is at least to get those 8 points by eliminating TWOB. That's a big play coming in. But also at the same time, it's 8-bit again locking horns with the members of OG. That's a big fight coming in, but we'll talk about that in a second. Godlike losing members, Punk already down on his feet.
Godin somehow wins that duel. But the man's taken down extremely low and he's got no meds to patch himself up. Phoenix Esports, they got no time to prepare for this third party. They're absolutely messed up, but Godin still somehow, he's alive. He makes the escape, but gets caught in return. Jonathan as well gets taken down. Phoenix Esports, they're doing as much damage as possible, but NINZA, now it's their time to step in the playing field. They come with the third party as well. Hero Extreme Godlike. Just gods remaining. They messed up this third party big time. But Dragon OP as well, he gets caught. How is Phoenix Esports able to fight back once again? Archit in that room. He strikes down 2 players. Archit single-handedly. He does a lot of damage.
Oh my goodness, and now that gives time to Godlike as well to try and sustain through all of that. As Marcos Gaming, they now decide to pop in at the exact same fray. My goodness, this is a carousel of death. You've got Dementors lurking around every single fray as Noddy now moves up. Gets a re-knock onto both Dragon and Poco. Massive problems coming in as Reaper still holds strong.
That's gotta blow, that's gonna sting. Marcos Gaming. Since they've got all the 4 players standing, we know, of course, they've got the advantage in the fight as well. The man advantage goes a long way. NINZA able to get the revival, but that's not going to be enough. Reaper, the man's taken down extremely low. Everyone from NINZA, they're softened up. And I don't see a world where NINZA can make a comeback, but they still do strike. Marcos Gaming, Beard Baba, he's full on HP. And Marcos Gaming, they mess up big. NINZA, a second chance to life, and this time they make the most out of it.
Where was this NINZA when we wanted to see them in the previous 2 weeks?
Finally, they've realized they need to play it aggressive. NINZA, they've woken up from their sleeps.
Now, they can also try and take down the members of Godlike. There's only 2 remaining, Admino and Gods. We know what Admino can pull up. So that could be big. But still,
God's reign.
Reaper, he's not really got any kind of HP as well, but should be able to loot up the crates of Marcos.
The main concern's going to be God's reign. Especially for God's reign with how things are. I'm not sure what they can do to try and get in line. It is one of those fights that is on the verge of being extinguished soon. Yeah, Hero Extreme Godlike. Still, there's no possible way to find an escape opportunity against NINZA.
Godlike.
As they push up and barrel stuff him down. But God's reign, They're just waiting for the right moment to strike, and here comes the first knock from God's Reign. Delta's position still not noticed. There is Admino in that opposite house, and Delta knows it. Once again, even he's waiting for Admino to make some sort of mistake, but that's not going to be happening. Admino's position's noticed, and Destro, he knows what exactly needs to be done to force the man outside of his comfort zone. But Admino, he's playing this perfectly well. The blue zone's taking away a lot of damage. Admino needs to be careful. There's Destro in the front, tosses a Molotov. The man gets forced outside of his comfort zone, and Admino, he's surrounded by too many foes, and he can't do anything.
Big problem coming in for the side of Godlike again. Not really getting that perfect timing into that fight. They just get deleted by NINZA as well as Phoenix. And now NINZA are still surviving. They're still collecting finishes. And how is it even possible? That's the big question. You've only got 2 more players remaining for the side of God's Reign as well. Finally, NINZA have been dealt with, but it's no player. It was the play zone.
Indeed. I mean, God's Reign, of course, collecting those scraps, but even they've taken a decent bit of damage.
Happy.
Losing out on 2 players. But here's the thing, God's Reign did get those elimination points, but those are not the power play eliminations.
Exactly.
So that's just going to be 3 elimination points in the overall standings, which is not a lot. At the cost of 2 players, of course not a lot. But since God's Reign got the chicken dinner in the previous game, it sort of covers up for it.
At least that's going to help them move into the 5th to 12th. There's also Global Esports who decided to join in the party. This Fairy Pier was absolutely a Halloween party. Just telling you, man. Every other team decided to join in the fray, and the rest of the members, they're having their own fun time up towards the north.
True that. And since the zone as well is shifting towards George Pole, now there's going to be a lot of foes in the close proximity. You've got Matt King's 4TR next to him. NoNx as well around that similar fray. Soul 2 on the southern side. OG as well now looking to breach in that zone.
Yeah.
And Global Esports, they're on the top right. Soul specifically for them. Wow. The zone is actually quite forgiving. But as we move on towards 8-Bit and 4TR, this is where the real problems start to struggle. And now, as 4TR, they might just not be able to defend this ground that well.
Could be possible.
With just a 2-man squad against the entirety of 8-Bit. But even 8-Bit, they cannot be disconnected. There's Revenant X Park right on the tails. And the moment 8-Bit is messed up, 4TR might just have a second shot at life. Z-God, he crosses towards the containers. A lot of those shots were taken against him, but Z-God's still fine.
As of now, he's going to stay alive. But the big thing is, are 8-Bit going to stay alive after this nade? It's a big one. And his power is the first one to fall down. Molotov's going to come in as well to try and disrupt their flow. And here's the thing, 8-Bit have technically ruined 2 different bounties out here. Both for Revenant X Park and OG. It's only 8-Bit that can actually claim that, and what a lovely Molotov. Z-God destroys F's power.
4TR, as of now, with just a 2-man squad, still somehow playing that ratty gameplay. And it's actually helping him out as well to survive. It's helping them pass those days. Revenant X Park, they were on the tail of 8-Bit, but Revenant X Park themselves now starting to face the brunt. They've lost out on the main man. 8-Bit now with the man advantage, but Matt King's right next to him. Problems all over the place. Trouble's being caused by everyone. At the start, we saw a fight towards Fairy Pier where 5 teams came back-to-back. Now over here, we've got 4 teams next to each other. And 8-Bit, they're on the verge of collapsing. Z-God, what a knock that was. Beast gets taken down. And the man will be confirmed soon. I highly doubt 8-Bit's going to stand a chance now. Somraj, the man's going to be ticked away to death soon, and that's what happens. Aquinox, the only glimmer of hope left standing. And I don't think a lot can be done.
I'm going to say it right now, man. When Raiden was high-jailing 8-Bit, 8-Bit were performing just out of their mind. He brought the team all the way from the second page towards the top 8. That has faded away entirely. I have no clue why that situation is, but it just seems like Raiden was more suited to IGL the members, given the format of BGMS.
True. And Equinox, especially the position he's got, I don't think he is going to be able to squeeze out a lot. Soul, they're in quite the dominant spot themselves. Now Goblin wants to go for this confirmation. It can also be a bait. The Goblin does it perfectly well. Tossing out the smoke, so he wants to get his hands on the loot as well, which will be the extra bit of topping. But OG, they found themselves under the crosshairs of Soul, and legit, he blows that vehicle up. OG, they found themselves in such a tricky spot, out in the open, too exposed, and Soul, with the advantage, they can convert everything. Goblin gets his hands on the vehicle, instantly backs away, and reunites with the teammates. I love how Soul is playing. They're playing for control, and they're actually getting it as well.
OG have been absolutely destroyed by multiple teams. Not a lot of solid ground to work with.
Yeah, they were exposed out in the open, right?
I'm not, and to be honest, they've done enough for today, so they're absolutely fine. Being in the top 4, it's okay. But for Soul, they wanted to claim that bounty. They thought maybe that's going to be an opportunity, but there was not.
Oh my
8-bit was
God.
the man, but yeah, Goblin, we saw that.
Entirety of Global Esports, all the way in the far fray, pulling out a rotation. It's tough to connect those shots, but Joker, he does find that final confirmation. Elimination point as well will be confirmed. Global Esports, they wanted to go for the rescue operation. You saw Manya take a U-turn.
Oh my God.
But it was too late. And Soul, they're really starting to put in a lot of work against Global Esports, especially Joker. This guy, he's an absolute laser beam.
Big performance. Now since Legit has been taken out, so you've got to have rest of the members of Soul to step up. Global Esports as well wanted to go in for a nasty rotation over towards down south of the circle. And this is just a mad dash rotation as well from God's Reign. This is interesting to see now. They've given away their position of the high ground and they're moving all the way out in the open. They will deploy the spokes, yes, but every other team will have their lines of sight on them. Considering K9 are so close to the warehouses, Genesis still on Everest, Global Esports on the foothill of the Everest, and then there's Soul.
Especially the amount of shots that are being taken against God's Reign.
There we go. Justin taken down.
They're quite exposed. God's Reign's too exposed. In the smack center, they're also the center of attraction. And this is what's going to happen. You will be ripped to shreds in the end by everyone around you. Luckily enough, Soul's found a solid compound to play with, so they will be fine till the upcoming rounds. Global Esports, not exactly sure if. I'm pretty sure the next zone shift will be their demise. For Genesis Esports, they've got the hilltop to play with. And from top, they haven't secured any of elimination points, which is problematic.
My attention is still on the members of God's Reign. I mean, they had such a good position, to be honest. Had they decided to stay up on top, they could have taken the fight against the members of Genesis. This was really not a good decision coming in. Just Neo remaining. Genesis, they've got all the high ground that they need. They can quickly claim the eliminations left, right and center. The only team that they need to worry about is going to be Global Esports. Everyone else who are towards the north of the circle, they're going to fight amongst themselves. NoNx is a team that I want to see what they are going to do. Because if they move down south, they will face K9. If they decide to move west, they will have Aquanox, Pain is Live. Some of the individually remaining players out there. And if they move even more south than that, then there's Soul. West is not an option.
Even NoNx, soon they're going to be in a concerning spot. They're next to Soul. The zone shrinks even more. Even Global Esports is going to be forced out to move in the open. And especially for Soul, they've still found that rich to play with. As I mentioned for NoNx, though, it's going to be a massive concern. Not exactly sure how NoNx are going to be deciding to play it. But the only possible way I see for NoNx is to go for a fight against the players of Soul, which is going to be extremely tough. Global Esports, they lose out on the main man, Manya. The IGL's down and dusted. And now for Global Esports, the remaining two players, they want to move up top on the hill. It's one of those fights that Global Esports knows they will never be able to win, but the only reason why they're taking the fight is to stand a chance to survive. Spray God gets knocked out. Troy, the only man standing. Global Esports in shambles. And there's no way they're coming back from this. They've got the lower grounds. It's an uphill battle. Genesis Esports with the advantage. Not just when it comes to man, but they've also got a good positioning. But hold on, Troy. He's already done the damage. Genesis Esports. They lost out on the main man, Troy, but it's fine. At least they've got 3 more players still standing.
And I think so. It's absolutely fine as long as Hunter stays alive. This was the fight that I said that they were supposed to take and they were supposed to win. That's exactly what happened. Right now, Soul as well, facing the members of NoNx. I was about to say that this is not really the best position for NoNx. They will be pushed by the blue as well. Not quite sure if you're going to be able to give the revive, and the answer is absolutely no. The nade from Knuckle destroys Viper. NoNx eliminated on the 9th position. I thought maybe this could be a big gain for them, but fortunately, not really working out.
Looking at the amount of elimination points Genesis Esports have had so far from that hilltop, it feels like they were not able to squeeze the most out of it.
Yeah.
The hilltop should have given them more advantage, should have given them more elimination points, but still for some reason they're not able to convert it that well. I mean, even inside of this fight, they can easily third party from top. They can easily go for those long range shots. But K9 Esports, Omega, the man at the front, Hunters is already pushed up. Genesis Esports now gaining the confidence. And Hunters, his nade, it's going to be precise than ever before as Omega falls down. And K9 Esports now just left with Ninja Boy and Hunters. How is this man so precise?
It's just super amazing. Gravity and Zap are on top of Everest. They're giving every information to Hunter that he needs. They're sending him up for success. And he's delivering. Another nade goes in, almost deleting Neo. And this one should do the job. It absolutely will.
Hunters, the man is like an absolute lone wolf.
6 finishes.
Not scared of the lobby at all. Striking down anyone that is in his line of sight. And it's crazy if you think about it. The entirety of the team, they've sent Hunters to move up while the remaining 2 players are in the back lines going for those shots. That's how much trust they have in that one man. We had a conversation about how Genesis Esports, their performance has been degrading, but this game, it can't be theirs. It can't be a major bounce back for Genesis Esports in the overall standings. It can be catapults maybe in the top 4 once again. That man from REVENANT X Parkin Sensei, and he gets spotted too, but luckily enough, he's able to bob and weave, and he's still somehow alive.
Zap, this was supposed to be your elimination. Fortunately, trouble's coming in for him, but at least they've noted the position down of Sensei. You've got a couple of people remaining for the side of Mad Kings as well. I think so the best possible thing that Genesis could do right now is to group up.
Let's see though.
They've got the advantage and you would really not want to give it away.
I mean, I like what Genesis Esports is doing here too. They're playing for the map control, which makes a lot of sense too. And as long as Genesis Esports does have the map control, for anyone that is there in the front, it's going to be tough to survive. And since the lands are so open, they can easily provide the crossfire as well. And Mad Kings, their position's revealed. The moment they go for those shots, their position was revealed. And from the back lines, it will be Hunters to shut the last man down. Genesis Esports, a massive game and a big chicken dinner. What a performance this was. Outstanding stuff from Genesis.
After such a long time, finally seeing the team perform back up. With constantly losing those 4v4s, 1v4s. They've decided to show back up again. Massive play. Specifically from the entire team. I know Hunters is going to be the one who goes all out, but the entire team, with the information that they were feeding, it was impeccable unity.
Genesis Esports, the amount of trust they showed in that one-man Hunters.
Yeah.
It was insane. He was sent to take a fight in the front, and there were 2 teams next to him. One was K9 Esports. And the man was able to shut down Omega as well. And then move on. And start eliminating the remaining teams. Even God's Reign did not stand a chance against this one man. Mad Kings in the final few moments, they knew there's no way they were going to be able to survive, so they were dealt with. But for now, let's move on to the stage for a quick interview.
पिछले कुछ दिनों में जेनेसिस ने बहुत सारे उतार चढ़ाव देखे हैं, but finally they pick up a chicken dinner and I'm just waiting for Hunters. पहला सवाल तो उनके चेहरे के एक्सप्रेशन के बारे में ही पूछना है, and he's making his way right now. और इसी के साथ आज का जो चौथा मैच है वो भी होता है खत्म, and that board is constantly moving. क्योंकि ऑफ कोर्स नंबर 1 पे ओजी गई, लेकिन उसके बाद जो बाकी के स्पॉट्स हैं उसमें there's a lot of movement and here comes Hunters. Congratulations bro. Finally थोड़ी सी वो मुस्कुराहट दिख रही है, but where's the खुशी man?
थोड़ा मतलब सबका ही बेकार चल रहा है, तो वही है, मतलब ये तो लकीली मिल गया है चिकन, ऐसा लग रहा है. क्योंकि
ये तुम लक पे बोल रहे हो?
हाँ, ये थोड़ा लकीली चिकन हो गया, मतलब वैसा वाला नहीं था जो हम लोग फन करके लेते थे, वैसा नहीं था. सबका मतलब परफॉर्मेंस थोड़ा डाउन है, थोड़ी हेल्थ डाउन है 2 प्लेयर्स की, तो वैसा फील नहीं हो रहा है जैसा मतलब फर्स्ट वीक हो रहा था.
भाई मैं उम्र में तुमसे काफ़ी बड़ा हूँ. मैंने ज़िंदगी में एक ही चीज़ सीखी है, जब 90 आ जाए ना एग्ज़ाम में, तो ये नहीं सोचते कि कैसे आए, बस आ गए उसकी खुशी मना. बट जस्ट क्योंकि हम आखिरी हफ्ते में बिफोर द ग्रैंड फाइनल्स, गॉट टू आस्क यू, आपने जो बात बोली है, इफ़ यू जस्ट कैन पुट अ फिंगर टू इट, क्या गलत हो रहा है आपकी टीम के साथ?
हमारी टीम में कॉन्फिडेंस लैक हो रहा है और थोड़ा कम्युनिकेशन, मतलब ओवर एग्रेशन ज़्यादा दिख रहा है, मतलब 1-2 प्लेयर्स में वैसा, मेरे में भी खास करके थोड़ा ऐसा लग रहा है कि ओवर एग्रेस कर रहा हूँ मैं हर जगह पे. और तो इतनी कोई दिक्कत नहीं आ रही है, बाकी आईजेल सब सॉर्ट करने का ट्राई कर रहे हैं और वो ट्राई हो रहा है धीरे धीरे.
टूर्नामेंट इतना लंबा होता है, आपको दिन बर दिन आके यहाँ पे खेलना होता है, कभी 2 मैचेस कभी 3 मैचेस, ऐसी चीज़ें जब होती हैं, बिकॉज यू वन अ मैच टुडे और आपने काफ़ी सारे पॉइंट्स जो हैं वो भी बटोरे हैं जो आपकी पोजीशन को भी कंसोलिडेट करेगा. इस सिचुएशन में आप अपने आप को दिमाग में क्या बोलते रहते हैं, लाइक हाउ डू यू कम प्रेप फॉर अ न्यू डे?
ऐसे तो कुछ नहीं है, बहुत बड़ा टूर्नामेंट है, ये 3-4 दिन बेकार चले जाए तो इससे कोई फ़र्क पड़ता नहीं है, क्योंकि हम लोग ने ऐसी लीड बना लिए थे, इससे तो कोई फ़र्क पड़ नहीं. लेकिन वही ट्राई है कि ये सब चोक्स फाइनल्स में ना हो. अच्छी बात है अभी हो रहा है, आगे जाके ना हो, तो वही सॉर्ट करेंगे अभी जो मिस्टेक्स हो रही है.
कोई टारगेट रखा है दिमाग में?
नहीं, टारगेट तो नहीं है, बस अपना सबका सब बेस्ट दे तो वही बेस्ट है.
थोड़ा मुस्कुराते भाई.
हाँ, वो तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
Much better. All right, Genesis of Hunters picking up the win in the final game. लेंगे एक break and we'll be back.
Bro, we're about to drop.
Just a second. I need to finish this video.
Ask Gemini on Android, it will give highlights.
Press for key highlights.
Only on Android.
TVS Raider, the wicked ride.
Real MVPs are not born, they practice every day. For OP moves on the field and in life.
Duolingo English Test. Proud supporters of dreamers and doers.
Red Bull gives you wings.
He was taken too soon.
I told him, lag, we have got Snapdragon 8 series Gen 3. Elite performance, unprecedented 144 FPS, zero stutter and heating.
And yet, he still tried.
A beautiful thing.
Finally, Genesis Esports is back in the form they were at the end of the week one. And this is the Genesis Esports we really want to see moving on future as well. But I just hope that they do carry on the consistency, because a lot of these teams just do not really care about qualifying in the top 4 anymore.
Most of them, they're trying to go in for that 5th to 12th position to play that extra game in the semi-final. Seems like they've had a sip of Bisleri water, because they're just being absolutely chill about it, cool about it. They're fine if you're not in the top 4. We are still in the top 12. I think so. That is the main focus for most of them.
They just want to make sure that they've got a solid momentum before moving on towards the grand finals, which makes a lot of sense too, right? And especially you can understand how the lobby is going to be functioning. You can get a rough idea in the semifinals itself, what you need to be prepared for the moment you move on towards the grand finals. So it makes a lot of sense why a lot of these teams are aiming for the semifinals and the top 12 instead. We've got the MVP of that previous game, which is going to be Hunters with 6 finishes wrapped up and 67% of finish contribution.
Clearly, the team showing full trust onto him. And then Gravity as well over towards the end. Was able to quickly get those 3 finishes for himself. Big play coming in from the side of Genesis, considering that they did not give up on their position of Everest. They maintained that high ground. Eventually, yes, you could say that they were not really collecting a lot of eliminations, and they realized that as well, just as you mentioned it. And then they sent Hunters out, and all the other players, both Zap and Gravity, were giving a lot of information to him.
I mean, the entirety of that game just started off with quite a big question mark. Of course, everyone just wanted to go extremely aggressive, take the advantage of the power play. That's why we saw Phoenix Esports as well do quite good in that game. Get a few elimination points grouped up, then later on NINZA as well came in with the third party. Here Extreme Godlike did not stand a single chance, since even they were on the elimination block.
Facing so many difficulties out there. Questionable decisions coming in from God's Raid, because they had the high ground, they just decided to leave it and then move forward in the middle of nowhere. That's exactly where they also deleted OG. I'm not quite sure as to why they wanted to do that, but over towards the end, it was a nice chicken dinner for them.
And I guess the funniest part about the game has to be Marcus Gaming third party in Phoenix Esports, and then getting eliminated instantly themselves. We did not even see them for a long time on the screen. The moment they went inside of that house, everyone just eviscerated.
That was also when Noddy started things off with his own nade. He got the knock, or rather 2 people knocked out from the members of Meta NINZA, exactly. And then holding that ground down onto that one spot, picture perfect gameplay coming in, and that's why they're at the 3rd spot with 11 points.
If you really think about it though, it's been good games from the side of Phoenix Esports today. Even on the map of Sanhok, they got decent bit of points. Now on this map as well, Phoenix Esports has 10 points. Yes, we're seeing that consistency from Phoenix Esports, but getting these many amount of points are not going to help you actually move on and breaching towards the top 12. You need more than 15 points per game to actually sustain that top 12 spot.
Maybe at this point they're just focusing down to get their momentum back, right? This is what we were also discussing too. Godlike, again, not really having one of the best games out there. Even Revenant X-Park, you could talk about it, right? Only getting 5 position points and nothing apart from that. You talk about NoNx this time, not really one of the best games. They were eventually stuck because of the circle, so they were not able to breach into that top 8, which I thought they would.
It's a little bit rough. The overall standings do pop up. Once again, the top 4 is going to be the same. Soul on the 4th spot with 414 points. Genesis Esports on the 5th. Once again, reclaiming their old spot back towards the 5th. You've got Here Extreme Godlike on the 6th with 395 points. 8-Bit with 371. Then you've got Metal Esports with 364. Today's day was quite bad for Metal Esports, right?
I mean, let's be honest, right? They started things off on a very early exit from the game itself. It seems like Sorain, if he takes the interview of a team, they end up getting eliminated early on in the game, man. Sorain, don't take the interviews of top 4.
Look, the second page does pop up. We do see NoNx still on that 10th spot, which is quite a good thing. Global Esports, It feels like Global Esports as well is another one of those teams that does not really want to go for the flashy plays anymore. Just get the consistent point flow.
I think so. That's also fine. They're still focusing down to top 8 itself. I don't think so they're focusing down on the top 4. Because even though if you really consider it, if you really want to jump up in that ranking, you'd have to utilize every single power play for yourself. And
true,
I'm not saying it is impossible. It could very well be possible considering you've got the Impact Player week as well. One more remaining right now for the League Week 3. Maybe.
Hey, look, since we've spoken so much about the teams now, let's talk a little bit more about the individuals as we have a look at the list of the Wicked players. We all know Admino has been on top with 78 finishes. TraceGod chasing him right behind with 76 finishes. AKOP as well, tied up with TraceGod this time, which is quite good. Legit with 75, Hunters with 72.
But the big thing is, out of the top 5, it's only Admino and Hunters who've played 2 less games. Both of them have played, 42 games for themselves? For the rest of the people, yeah, they've got, 44 games out here right now. So maybe Admino and Hunters, they can pull themselves back up.
Exactly. We've also got the ladder page on the screen where Justin with 70 finishes. You've also got Neo with 69, WizGod with 66. Even WizGod from OG has been doing extremely good. I think he is well contributing pretty much the same as WizGod.
Yes.
It's honestly remarkable. And Aimbot from Metal Esports has always been there in the forefront of the action. But once again, something that is extremely important to you guys is that WickedCon Next Gen, the TVS Radar iQOO, brings more swagger with digital cluster with 85 plus connected features, best-in-class torque, and now 9 crazy colors.
Absolutely. You'd not want to miss that at all, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bike that even Necro is head over heels over. But now since we've moved out forward, right? Yeah, the Wicked player list, we clearly saw Admino with the domination. Not really getting the best possible day out of here, but it's absolutely fine.
He's still on top.
He's still on top. Tomorrow you've got another big day coming in, specifically for teams of Group A, because they're going to have those 4 games that they'll be able to play. So I think so that's also about time where we might see some teams at least try and breach back into the top 8.
At this point in time, look, for Admino, once again speaking about the individual stats, Admino knows that he's currently at the top, and if he keeps on performing the same way, he will be at the top, right? He's able to get his own job done pretty well. He's getting the consistent elimination points for his team. He's able to keep up the average even inside of Wicked players. So that's a great thing. But something that's important for you guys is also going to be, if you scan this QR code, you will get an exclusive 99 rupees off coupon on Swiggy. It's only for a limited time, so make sure you're doing it right now.
Absolutely. You can get the burgers as well just for 99 rupees and also for free delivery too, because as we have a look at the Swiggy 99 finishes, we've had that 38 times. But the man who's going to have that blue cap on top of his head, again, going to be Admino. No changes out here whatsoever. Tomorrow as well, they're going to play 2 more games. I'm pretty sure that TraceGod might steal it away tomorrow.
Legit today, though, had a solid day. Getting 75 eliminations now in the max finishes as well. Today, Legit was able to pop off, especially in that game of Miramar. He had a lot of elimination points to be contributed.
7.
AKOP and TraceGod way too close to Admino. If Admino slips up even one day, I'm pretty sure one of these guys will catch up.
I 100% agree with the way how they've constantly been brought back into the flow as well, right? Yeah, there's been a few hiccups coming in the game of Miramar itself, but it's absolutely fine. OG back again onto their top spot. Now I really want to see who's gonna barge in into the bottom 3.
I mean, overall, though, if you really want to summarize today's day, it was Seoul who got the major highlight with those 42 points. And of course, after that, we did not really see them get that consistent performance. But then after that, of course, a few teams were able to reap up that consistency. For now, though, that's going to be it from me, Necro, and Scared. We'll see you guys tomorrow with some more BGMS Season 4 action.